Good morning. Oh my gosh. I'm extra eepy today. I hope y'all are doing well. Welcome in, welcome in. Let's see. First was taken by, oh my gosh, Veer. Thank you so much for taking my first today. Makes me very happy that you could be my first. Daily Pillows, we've got Jacob on YouTube. Hi, Jacob. We've got Veer, Nordy, Egg, Jeremy, and Vertexiality. Welcome in, welcome in. Hope you all can be nice and comfy, cozy with your daily pillows. Today is the final day of the Otome game celebration. This is the final game we have in our queue. We have Chrysanthemum on the way to sweet dreams. Fun fact, when I first opened this game, it was fully in Russian, and I had to figure out how to switch the language to English. I did it though, as you can see. I did in fact figure out how to switch the game language to English. So, my 1.5 years of Russian class paid off, I guess. Well, let's go ahead and start. This is also a demo, so this is also not a full game yet. But it felt like it was up my alley, and I really wanted to try it out. Begin story? Yes. An elusive, yet so captivating fragrance of chrysanthemums fascinated me. I wanted to bury my face into the petals to better feel the herbal, slightly bitter aroma. Geez, 1.5 years of Russian. Well, you know, like how you have to take like 2 consecutive years of the same language in order to meet your language requirements. So initially, I took Japanese in middle school because they were giving you high school credit. And I got 1.5 years of Japanese before I ended up moving to a different state. And so those 1.5 years of Japanese didn't count. So I needed to take a new language. So I took 1.5 years of Russian, but then I also had to move schools in the middle of my second year of Russian class. So the 1.5 years I spent learning Russian also didn't count, but then it was my senior year. So I had to binge learn 2 years of French in like 1 semester in order to graduate on time. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't remember any of it though. I barely remember how to read Cyrillic. That's about it. Polyglot indie. I wish. Nah, I can barely read Cyrillic. That's basically it. My my Russian is fully degraded. The reason why my Japanese hasn't fully degraded is because I actively watch anime and shit. I made you learn 3 years, 2 years, 2 years of foreign languages. It's just I couldn't end up finishing because every single time I got close to finishing the end of my 2 years, I had to start over essentially. Because it has to be the same foreign language. You have to learn 2 years of the same foreign language. So it has to be 2 years of Japanese or 2 years of Russian or 2 years of French. But I could only manage to get to 1.5 before I had to like move or something. And then I couldn't pick up the other half a year because the other school didn't have Japanese and the other school didn't have Russian. So I was like, well, yeah, I learned 2 years of French. Yeah. It was stressful. My school only had Spanish. See, all of the schools had Spanish, but I didn't want to learn Spanish. It was like this weird sort of rebellion, I guess. The Mexican inside me didn't want to learn Spanish, which greatly disappointed my grandpa because my grandpa's Mexican and he's a fluent native Spanish speaker. So he's like, why don't you just take fucking Spanish? I'm like, I don't want to. I want to learn Japanese. Oh, see, I don't even speak Spanish. I was just being rebellious just to prove a point. I didn't even want... Oh my gosh. Inhale, and it's as if all of your worries vanish with it. You forget about who you are, leaving all your troubles and sorrows behind. I wish I could stay in this enchanting world forever. But time is relentless. just as relentless and merciless as life itself. Ooh, we're at the flower shop. Sorry, I was lost in thought. It's okay. Zoya was looking curiously at the bouquet of chrysanthemums which I was holding in my hands. Yeah, my school offered French, Russian, and German and Spanish. I wanted to learn French. My parents made me learn Spanish. Yeah. I learned Spanish if anime was made in Spanish. And You're not wrong. You're not wrong. No, yeah, the first school I went to, they had Japanese, Latin, French, and Spanish. So I took Japanese because it sounded really interesting. Then the second school I went to, they had Latin, German, Russian, Spanish, and I took Russian. And then the third school just had Spanish and French, so I took French. So all of them had Spanish. I just willingly chose not Spanish every single time because, I don't know, I'm stubborn, dude. Latin would be cool. See, I learned Latin as a kid. I learned a little bit of Latin as a kid because we had like this like Christian Latin learning book or whatever that like my friend, like her mom was like a Girl Scout teacher but also like a homeschool teacher. So I would like go over to their house every now and then, like on like the weekends and shit, to like hang out and like sleep over and hang out with my two friends because they were twins, right? So I'd hang out with them, and then over the weekend her mom would be like, okay, we're gonna learn Latin now, here's your workbook. So I learned a little bit of Latin. I learned a little bit of Latin growing up, so, which honestly really, really useful. You wouldn't think Latin would be useful, but Latin is a big part of a lot of words we use, like just like as a base, like a Lego block for a lot of the words we have and use. So just knowing a little bit of Latin can help immensely with like immediately understanding what words are that you've never seen before. It's fantastic. What a scent. I held out the bouquet. Zoya hesitated a bit before tucking a strand of hair behind her ear and leaning carefully in toward the flowers. In a flash, a smile spread across her lips. Yeah, nice one. Not too intense. It's quite pleasant. It's settled then. I'll get chrysanthemums. Thanks for not running away. Zoya giggled. How could I leave you? You would have stayed here forever. That's for sure. I do love flower shops. How long have we been at the florist? For an hour, right? During that time, we wandered through the shelves lined with roses and peonies. We looked at daisies and orchids. We stood next to a beautiful cacti with blue and purple spines. We went back and forth between bouquets of asters, cornflowers, sunflowers, and chamomile. And I didn't like any. And then, as if by magic, there they were. Chrysanthemums of every kind, big and small, red and white and yellow, filling the whole corner. So hi, Mita, welcome in. How didn't we notice them sooner in such a tiny shop? And that's only thanks to Zoya. I would have just simply passed them by. I thoughtfully turned the bouquet over in my hands, the snow-white petals whirling around like dancing ballerinas. What color do you think Sensei would like? I have no idea. Zoya glanced back over the shelf. She had always pretended to be deep in thought whenever she wanted to avoid talking or was too unsure to speak up. If this did involve Sensei, I wouldn't have been so indecisive, really. But when you're going to give a special bouquet to a special man on an ordinary day, everything changes. You can't think straight. Your thoughts cloud your mind, leaving a thick mental fog. Zoya wasn't feeling well today either. She had faint circles under her eyes, a nervous smile, and was constantly fiddling with the sleeve of her dress. I should not have listened to her and let her tag along with me. I need to let Zoya get some sleep. I could sit next to her until she falls asleep so the nightmare she's been having lately won't bother her anymore. Oh well. It is what it is. That means I should hurry up and finish with the flowers. That's all I can do right now. I'll go ask the florist. I'm coming with you. There was a fierce, unwavering loyalty in her eyes, like a knight protecting her king with all she had. She's so cool. Well, I am her only friend, after all. But Zoya is my only friend, too. Sometimes all I want is just to be next to her and not let her go anywhere. Who knows what dangers are out there? Oh my god, lesbians already. We open with lesbians? Let's go. I love it. I tried to make other friends at school, but Zoya was the only one who truly became a friend. I guess it's because both of us transferred school halfway through the last year, and everyone else's class is already split up into groups. Oh well, one loyal friend is better than a bunch of acquaintances who won't even let you copy their homework. Okay, let's go. The florist was at the checkout speaking on her phone. Surprisingly, I couldn't understand a word. It was as if the florist's booming and stern voice was being absorbed by a vacuum. All I could hear was a sharp hissing sound. Seems like she's speaking our native language. I wonder if she's an islander or maybe just calling her relatives at home. With her tan skin and dark hair braided in the style of the locals, it's not so easy to tell. I look over at Zoya. She kept glancing at the clock wall. Then, as if she felt my eyes on her, she turned and tapped her wrist with her index finger. Well, the school bell won't wait for us. I'll have to interrupt her. We came closer. She was clearly anxious, so much so that she didn't even notice us. She kept going on and on into the phone, suddenly squeezing it so tightly it seemed she might crush it. Zoya gave me a nudge, and I instinctively put the bouquet on the table. The florist's expression cleared. The woman fired off a couple more sharp remarks, hung up, and hastily smiled. How may I help you? Her face relaxed, and it was as if she turned back the clock by a decade. I cleared my throat. My heart was racing as if I was getting ready for a long run. Sorry to bother you. I just want to ask, could you tell me which chrysanthemums are better to gift? The woman glanced at the white chrysanthemums on the table. Normally, I don't know what the other cultures are, but in America, white chrysanthemums are mostly used at funerals. So I would advise against white chrysanthemums. I would get colorful ones, but also it depends, what color depends on who you're giving them to. Oh no, what if I distracted her from an important conversation? And why did I bring the bouquet to the cashier if I'm not sure about the color? What if you're not allowed to touch things you're not allowed to buy? My hands were sweating. I wiped them quietly on my skirt. I was about to apologize for taking the bouquet when the woman broke into a smile again. It's not often people pick chrysanthemums as a present. Her eyes gleamed with a genuine curiosity. Dodged a bullet. Hi, swordsman. Welcome in. Why is that? The florist let her hand glide gently across the flowers. The petals seemed to cling to her fingers like they didn't want to let go. There's a lot of symbolism in this flower. Some of it's quite conflicting. Right, hidden meanings. How could I forget about them? Could you tell us about them? Holding my breath, I stared intently at the woman. I don't know how much she loved her job, but judging by her charming voice, she could definitely have a passion for storytelling. Do you really want to know? I nodded enthusiastically. The florist smiled dreamily. All right, I'll tell you about the most famous ones. In some countries, chrysanthemums are a symbol of sorrow. People lay them on graves. See, I told you guys. Yeah, America's one of those countries. White chrysanthemums are very commonly used at funerals. They'll make like these giant like boards where like they have like the person's picture and then they'll surround them with white chrysanthemums. Very, very common. And others, they symbolize friendship and strong bonds. In Japan, chrysanthemums became a symbol of wealth, purity, and nobility. Yeah, it's considered like the princess of like the flowers. It's like the symbol of nobility, yeah. And my favorite legend is the one about the evil dragon who wanted to steal the sun, but when he was carrying it, he burnt it in his paw. Enraged, the dragon began to tear the sun to pieces. The sections of it which fell to the earth became white chrysanthemums. That's why people give them when they want to sincerely and honestly show their feelings. Suddenly the woman snapped out of it as if to remember what she was doing and quickly followed suit. Everything felt alive again. The smell of flowers filled the air and everything shone brightly. Sorry, I got carried away. Ugh, I can't read, bro. The color and quantity depend on the occasion. Why do you want to purchase such a bouquet? I smiled and confidently pulled a bunch of chrysanthemums towards me. The 7 bright-colored buds, like solar sparks that had fallen to earth, swung mesmerizingly. It was fate that brought me to them. Thank you, but I've already made up my mind. She's already decided. It's too late. To be fair, the text box isn't the best choice of color. I know, I'm getting my words mixed up. I can read it just fine. Also, hold on, I gotta blow my nose. So I'm gonna mute real quick so you don't hear me blow my nose. Okay, I'm good now. When I left the shop, it felt like a whole nother world. The scents of flowers and lacquered wood disappeared. The warmth vanished, making way for a cool breeze. There was not a soul in sight, except for a single car which passed by. The bakery sign swayed in the wind. When I came here last year, I thought the town was abandoned. That only scientists, military personnel, and doctors lived here, and we were sent out here as prisoners. But no, if you look closely, you'll see a group of kids with school bags, people laying out baked rolls or fruit they've collected. And Zoya, who was looking at me with great concern. Whoa, it's freezing today. Maybe we should stop by the dorm so you can change? Let's not waste any time. They said it'll get better by lunchtime. It'll warm up while I'm walking anyway. Aren't you cold? Zoya shook her head. You could still see the worry in her eyes. I glimpsed at her hands, which she desperately tried to hide. Her usually pale fingers were bright red, as if she just dipped them in a pot of boiling water. She's freezing herself, yet she worries about others. How can that be? I wanted to go to Zoya, hold her hands, and warm them right away. No way. I still remember her reaction when I tried to hug her. I was so happy after passing my exams, I rushed to hug her. She looked at me with such a frightened expression, as if something horrible had happened. Since then, no matter how much I want to touch her, I had to hold myself back. Oh my gosh, so romantic. So I sighed heavily and checked if there were any chrysanthemums. Checked if the chrysanthemums were wrapped up securely. All good. At least they were safe and sound. So, off to school? Wait. Huh? Zoya's face suddenly changed. She bit her lip, looked at me even more anxiously. Even the circles under her eyes started to look darker. My heart sank. Could it really be that the nightmares were just the tip of the iceberg? What happened? Zoya looked away. Her hands gripped her skirt. Sorry for not telling you earlier. Noble, my brother is coming today. It was as if a heavy burden was lifted from my shoulders. So that's why she was so anxious. That's why she kept glancing at the clock, even though, unlike me, she was never in a hurry for classes. I wondered if her nightmares have anything to do with her brother's arrival. Did something happen between them in the past? Or is it me just making stuff up because Zoya's news caught me so off guard? And now she was looking at me with a guilty look, as though she was waiting for me to confess something. Hi, Coffee. Welcome in. She looked so cute and innocent, I couldn't help but laugh. That's so cool. What time? Do you need any help? You're not angry that I didn't tell you? It did sting a little bit, but not because Zoya hadn't told me earlier. I'm used to people not trusting me with their secrets. Besides, I didn't tell Zoya much about myself either. Oh my gosh, thank you for the 5-stream streak, Coffee. Thank you. What upset me more was that, due to this small misunderstanding, I could miss such an important event in my friend's life. But it's great Zoya decided to share the news with me after all. Buy me chocolate and we're even. We smiled at each other. So, I guess I'll buy 2 or maybe even 3 chocolates. We gotta go and pick them up now. The smile faded from my face. I didn't have time to process what she said and smiled reassuringly again, making Zoya sad. Oh, she's hiding more secrets, huh? Sorry, I'll go by myself. It's just that We never go out of town, so I'm sorry. It's all right. I was lying this time. To welcome a newcomer to the island, you need to get to the pier by the bus and then come back the same long way. We might make it back in time for school, but I won't be able to give him the flowers. I didn't tell Zoya I wanted to give the flowers to Sensei before the lesson. If I did, then she never would have admitted that she needed help. Now I had a tough choice to make. My heart ached. Aww. When Zoya had a temperature, she never asked me for help. Even when she had to rewrite her whole notebook after it fell in the puddle, she still didn't ask. After all, her life motto is, I can handle everything on my own. But now, Zoya had asked me for help. Besides, it would be our first time leaving the research town. You need to find the bus stop, catch the right bus, not get lost. How could I send her alone? And why does Zoya even have to pick her brother up? Everyone coming to Anomaly Island is accompanied. Oh my gosh. Humans who possess extraordinary abilities, first triggered by a huge emotional outburst. Frequent use of abilities can cause side effects and even drive anomalies mad. Oh my god, this is a superpower game? People got superpowers? Sometimes their powers can simply disappear. There are no clear theories as to why this happens. Lately, Zoya's been suffering from nightmares. She doesn't remember the exact events of them, but she knows that these dreams remind her of her past. She hasn't even discussed it with G. Zoya's cheerful and hyperactive twin brother. He loves to try new things and go on adventures and drag the others along. He loves swimming and is fascinated by the concept of death. He wants to explore every corner of the island. He's especially drawn to abandoned temples. Her ability is copying others' voices. Oh. I wonder what our ability is then. I wonder. Oh my god, I have to blow my nose again. Dude, my nose is so stuffy. Holy shit. Ugh, I don't know why my nose is so stuffy today. Well, hopefully that fixes it. Stop, of course. Wait, isn't a guide supposed to meet Noble? Oh my god, we got the whole dictionary over here. What if our ability is to copy any anomalies' powers? I don't know. I guess we'll find out what our ability is. Taking care of a sick indie ASMR win. Oh my god, please. Please. A designated person who welcomes all the newcomers and brings them into town. There is no permanent guide. They are chosen from any of the teachers or senior assistants who have free time. In rare cases, a close relative or friend of the newcomer may take on the role of the guide. Give indie smooches to make them feel better. Yeah. Tuck me into bed. Give me like one of those thermometers and those like bags of ice that they put on your head. Zoya just sighed softly. I knew you would ask. He is, but Noble arranged for me to pick him up. Wow, he's so brave and full of himself that he managed to break the status quo. There was no way out, so I shut up. Zoya, on the contrary, spoke out confidently. You can leave the bouquet at the library. There are lots of other plants there, so no one will notice it. You could take it after school and give it to Sensei. It looks like she thinks I'm only worried about where to put the chrysanthemums. She's so kind, so sure I'll always help her and never betray her. But you really don't need to come with me. I won't get mad, I can handle it by myself. If I get lost, I'll call you. You're so sneaky, you know that? This time, her smile had a sly, fox-like edge to it. Me? Sneaky? Not one bit. But really, I did drag it out too long. I even thought about going alone after all. I really don't know what's gotten into me. I wonder if I could wipe your memory. Fortunately, there's only one person around here who could do that. Indeed. So, if you did decide to go to school, I wouldn't take any offense. Zoya repeated. This time her voice sounded more confident. My thoughts were scattered like leaves in the wind. Let's go ahead and save. Can I save? Okay, quick save complete. We'll go with Zoya. You can't leave your only friend when they're in trouble, especially... Yeah, you can't leave your friend when they're in trouble, especially if they're your only friend. I really hope the librarian doesn't spot our stowaway flowers. Zoya looks at me in disbelief. Why are you so surprised? Did you really think I would leave you? No, Thank you. Zoe smiled so sincerely and gratefully it was as if I just promised to make her biggest wish come true. Her smile so precious I'd trade the world to see it. Let's go. We quickly got to the checkpoint. A stubby little security booth and a fence. That was all that separated us from the rest of the world. Still, it felt like we were going up against a bunch of intimidating guards who would never let us leave. They would catch us and put us underground cells to conduct experiment on us for the rest of our lives. Gee, hold out your hand. I looked away from the tall fence and faced toward Zoya. Turns out the yellow checkpoint guy had been standing next to her for a long time now. A grumpy man who guards a checkpoint at the town. He has the power to detect other anomalies. Some say his ability works even 1,000 miles away. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I'm really sorry. You could see the fatigue in his eyes. The guard sighed as if he was coming to terms with something and held out his hand. It's fine. Almost everyone reacts like this, looking around like scared rabbits. Come on. You know perfectly well you're free to visit the island any time. We know, but when you've been locked up for such a long time, freedom feels like something forbidden, something wrong. It's our first time going out, so this feels strange. To avoid angering the guard further, I quickly extended my hand in response. It'll sting a little. I wasn't done mentally preparing myself for the pain when I felt the burning sensation. It was as if a swarm of wasps had stung all at once. I screamed and Zoya rushed to me, grabbing my other hand and caressing my palm. It'll be all right. Hang on, G. I bit my lip. When the guard did the same to Zoya, she didn't make a sound. How embarrassing. Gritting my teeth, I waited for the man to finish the job. I didn't compare them to wasp stings for no reason. It felt as if the checkpoint guard had released thousands of tiny insects under our skin, capable of tracking us, the anomalies. If we don't return to the end of the day, the ironclad rule for anyone leaving town, they will send a team to search for us. Even if we were 1,000 miles away, the guard could track us down. I wonder how long go to work. A day? A week? The pain from the sting was getting worse. I was on the verge of tears. No way. Crying is the last thing I'd do. I was so scared to be seen crying I managed to get a hold of myself. If only there was a way to avoid such a painful procedure. I remember some kids had sneaked past the guard, climbed over the fence, and disappeared for a couple of days. Of course, they were found. There's no escaping the island, and the search team were equipped to the fullest. The kids were hungry, tired, and crying, yet they still didn't avoid additional punishment. I think they were made to learn all the island rules by heart. They're also told a lot of stories about naughty boys and girls going deep into the forest and never returning. They give the kids a lot of sweets and left them in peace. I haven't heard any rule breakers since. That's for the best. The rules were made for a reason. They try to make life on the island as safe as possible, so it's in our best interest to follow them. Will you make it for the start of class? His lips were pressed into a thin line, but a smirk lingered in his eyes. My thoughts grew quiet, and I rubbed my hand. The pain dulled, but it was still there. We will. Zoya kept holding my hand, even stepping forward towards the guard like a mother protecting her child. God, I can't read. I'm still half asleep today, dude. The man grunted and nodded. All right. But if they start looking for you, I won't cover for you. Oh, and good luck with welcoming the new boy. How does he know? I looked at Zoya. She stared at the guard with the same stunned expression as me. I have eyes and ears everywhere. Well, it really wasn't that astonishing. Anyone from the scientist team could have told him about it. Maybe even our school's principal, who was the co-creator of the Anomaly Research Project, could have informed them. Have a nice trip. When he went back into a security booth, we both breathed a sigh of relief. If I hadn't been sick the whole summer vacation, I would have had plenty of time to explore the island and could have gotten used to going without feeling guilty. Why are you looking at me like that? No matter what I say right now, she would insist that everything's fine. Nothing. Don't worry about it. Zoya looked at me skeptically, but she didn't push it any further. We should totally visit the island again. No waiting until holidays. Maybe we could skip a lesson during the week or miss a medical examination over the weekend. I headed towards the bus stop filled with determination. Fortunately, getting there wasn't too hard. The road meandered a bit, making us climb uphill at times and ease downhill at others, so we didn't pick up too much speed. At least the road didn't branch off anywhere. The bus stop seemed like a lone island in the middle of the backwoods. The road sign was covered in rust. Yeah, determination, you say. It fills me with determination. The road itself wasn't in the best shape either. The asphalt was cracking like eggshell, with ruts and potholes scattered here and there. It's a good thing the bus wasn't there yet. The stop was so overgrown that drivers usually just passed right by. You had to look out for them and wave with your arm just to catch their attention. I pulled the phone out of my pocket. There was plenty of time. Zoya making me wake up earlier wasn't for nothing after all. By the way, where is Zoya, that sly fox? I look around to find Zoya patiently waiting for a bus. Straight posture, fingers intertwined, a faint half smile. She looked just like a princess waiting for her Prince Charming. I couldn't help but laugh. Zoya instantly gave me a curious look. What is it? I could look at you forever. Oh my god, they're so gay. She blushed. Her eyes darted back and forth. Oh, good thing I chose to go with Zoya. If I'd gone to school, who knows what would have happened. What if I couldn't give the bouquet to Sensei, or I dropped the flowers on the way? Anything could have happened. But now, even if something does happen, I'm not alone. And Zoya's puzzled expression was so worth it. My friend didn't know what to do with herself. Another gust of wind tousled her braids. Like satin ribbons, they went up in the air before gently floating back down. I wonder what color Noble's hair is. And his ability? How did he acquire it? As I stood there idly, my thoughts began to pile up like a snowball. There was so much I wanted to ask, but I was too afraid to scare Zoya away. I can ask at least one question. When did Noble get his abilities? Her smile stiffened, as if set in stone. What? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked. I was just wondering, how soon did you find out everything? No need to apologize. You can always ask if you're curious about something. We found out about them very quickly. Perhaps too quickly. Oh. There was an engine sound in the distance. It looked like our bus was finally coming. Feeling braver, I decided to ask one more question. Did he tell you himself, or did someone tell you? He rarely shares anything himself, so I was told by others. Yep, first check mark on the things the twins have in common list done. That's some dead eyes, you good Zoya? I know, dude. I wanted to return the question to Zoya that still hadn't answered, but the bus was already approaching. Clouds of exhaust and smoke billowed up like a powerful steamboat, and I was afraid they simply wouldn't notice us. Zoya and I waved our arms. For a moment, I even forgot that I was holding a bouquet, but I managed to catch it just in time and straighten the tangled ribbon. Eventually, the bus stop port was written on a plate next to the windshield. It was the only sign in the island's local language that I'd learned to read, and that was only because there was an English translation underneath. The doors flew open with a loud noise. We carefully entered as though stepping into the lair of a beast. Despite our initial reservations, there was nothing remarkable about the bus except for the beautiful amulets hanging above the driver's head, so we quickly settled down. I wiped my fogged-up glasses and pressed my face up against the window, full of curiosity. Questions about Noble can wait. Now it's time to enjoy the view. Oh, it's a moon shape. Libertas Island lies far out at sea. Some say it looks like a giant whale, flicking its long tail. Others argue the island closer resembles a crescent moon. Yeah, y'all are trying too hard to say it looks like a fucking whale, dude. That's so obviously a crescent moon. And some even see it as an Ouroboros. I mean, I guess I can see the Ouroboros, I guess. It's definitely more of a crescent moon, though. They say if you include the abandoned lighthouse, it links the two halves of the island, closing the loop and explaining where all the misfortunes come from plague-stricken villages to burnt temples. I think one of our teachers told us about the last comparison was made up by tourists, inspired by local legends. Speaking of tourists, thanks to the island's peculiar shape and its many folk stories, Libertas has attracted quite a bit of attention. But that didn't mean it was easy to get there. Maybe the crescent moon is an indie dairy reference? Yeah, that's what it is. 100%. You nailed it, bro. Due to the many towns and temples, forests and swamps, shaky grounds and harsh climate, an airport was never built. The railway was also bypassed the island, unlike the neighboring peninsulas. That's why everyone arrived by ferry, although even that wasn't that common. At times, a thick fog would curl around the island. It puzzled ship captains who started calling Libertas another Bermuda Triangle. So there were few tourists here, and the islanders lived off the fishery and agriculture. Only a few skilled guides dared to give tours, many of which often ended in disaster. Our research town was only built 5 years ago and was created to study anomalies, people with extraordinary abilities. Animals are not allowed because the anomalies could accidentally harm them. The town is hidden from the outside world. So no, we're slowly unlocking the whole thing. I had heard there used to be an abandoned village in its place, but the residents had died many years ago due to incurable illnesses. There are many such towns and villages on Libertas, the very thought of which gave me goosebumps. On the way, I had a good look at the plowed fields, the seashore, and the fisherman's boat. I even noticed a couple of guys from our research town gorging on the apples hanging from a tree. The idea of skipping school one of these days seems more and more tempting. It was even colder on the pier. The wind seemed to take offense at us leaving the town, trying its hardest to punish us with every gust. I shivered. I took great effort to refrain from wrapping my arms around myself. If Zoya sees that I'm cold one more time, she'll definitely start looking for ways to warm me up, and we'll miss everything. The ferry sailed majestically towards the shore. Everyone's attention turned to the boat, which was humming and puffing out plumes of smoke like an old man smoking a pipe. It finally docked, and people slowly began to come out. I immediately started scanning the crowd for dark hair, a cap, and plaid shirt. That's how Zoya described her brother. Noble! Of course, Zoya found him first. After all, there is something magical about the bond between twins. I followed her gaze. Noble was standing on one of the ferry's railings. Oh my god, look at him. His smile was dazzling. He was clearly greeting only Zoya. A smile like that's reserved only for our nearest and dearest. But for a moment, it felt like Noble was greeting me too. In the heat of the moment, I waved at him. Noble waved back and moved closer to the railing. If he came any closer, even another step, he would fall into the sea. He's gonna fall! Splash! The crowd at the gangway just wouldn't end. Jeez, just let Noble get away from that damn railing already. Why is Zoya so calm? Can't you see that Noble could easily fall into the water? I wanted to turn towards her, but I was frozen in place. Noble was leaning lower and lower. I can't bear to watch. The smell of fish in the sea wafted up my nose. People were bustling around. Seagulls were screaming. Seagulls were screeching. I couldn't hear any screams. He didn't fall. Is he all right? Gee, is everything okay? Zoya looked at me with concern, and I smiled and glanced at the ferry. Noble was gone. Could he really have fallen? But then, why would Zoya be so calm? Oh my god, what's wrong with me? Surely he couldn't have. Hello? A joyful and teasing voice broke my train of thought. I looked up. Thank God he's okay. Damn, look at that big-ass backpack, bro. Sheesh. How could I even think of something so absurd? Nice to meet you, Noble. Likewise, princess. His warm, genuine smile made it feel as though the world had suddenly become much brighter. The cold was gone, replaced by the warmth of the sun. It gave me butterflies in my stomach. Wait, princess? Oh my god, he's got heterochromia. I only came to my senses when Noble pressed his cold lips to the back of my hand. Oh my god, he's kissing my hand? You are the complete opposite of your sister. There was a mischievous look in his eyes. It was intense. Oh my god, she wants to fucking kill him, dude. She's like, get the fuck away from her. I immediately pulled my hand away and glanced at Zoya. She shook her head. I think I asked you to be more restrained. Why, I'm the very picture of restraint. Noble shot me a cheeky wink. My confusion didn't seem to bother him at all. It's nice to see you, sister. He spoke the last word with a hint of mockery. Zoya sighed, but there was nothing but true joy in her eyes. I'm happy to see you too. They didn't hug or shake hands, yet they looked at each other with a certain familial warmth. I barely had time to soak in their long-awaited reunion before Noble's attention swung back to me. Whoa, you even brought me flowers. Thank you. He was already reaching for the bouquet before I could hide it behind my back. Sorry, but these aren't for you. Look at him, he's about to cry. What a shame. Seems they're meant for another lucky guy, huh? And where's my welcome gift then? Zoya gave him a stern glance. She's like, shut the fuck up. Nope, well, how about this? Noble leaned towards me, offering his cheek. He even closed his eyes in anticipation. Time seemed to slow down. I recoiled in horror. My glasses slid down my nose, and I made a great effort to push them back into place. Damn, bro, already trying to go for the kiss? And then... Ouch! What was that for? I stared at Zoya. She looked calm and composed, but her eyes were filled with righteous anger. Zoya, shut your bitch ass up before I slap you with a la chancla. I just want to beat his ass with the chancla, bro. Shall we leave you here? You'll find your way back, won't you? Noble raised his hands in surrender. Okay, okay. I'm sorry for being persistent, princess. This unusual nickname again. It sounds strange. The name's G. I know, but princess suits you better. Zoe is so fucking done with this, bro. She's like, God, the only reason I haven't killed you is because we are tied by blood. Zoya rolled her eyes, and I couldn't help but giggle. It was the first time I'd seen her so annoyed. She reminded me of a tiny, angry hedgehog. Noble chuckled as well. Apparently our reactions were a great source of amusement for him. And then my gaze landed on a large clock hanging from one of the dock pillars. The time! I quickly pulled out my slider phone from my pocket. My fears were confirmed. We were going to be late, and we still need to swing by the library. We definitely won't make it for the first lesson, but we must hurry for the second one. Off we go. Whoa, he figured things out quick. Observant guy. Yes, as soon as possible. Now I understand what it could be like to be a woman, because not gonna lie, I'd be turned off by Noble's flirty personality. It can be a lot. You have to, like... There are certainly some girls who are into that, but most are just, like... It's kind of skeeved out if you come on too strong, you know? It's like, okay, you don't know anything about me. We were silent for most of the walk back to the bus stop. It wasn't far, but we had a steep hill to climb. Luckily, Noble had only brought a backpack with him. How did he manage to fit all his clothes in there? So there were no troubles on the way. When we got to the bus stop, we were soaking wet. Noble took off his cap and started fanning himself with it. Oh, you got some hills here. Yep, sorta. Oh. Zoya stayed silent, preferring to catch her breath rather than waste it on small talk. I should have followed her example, but the words slipped out. Noble had me hooked. And he clearly had no intention of letting me go. Princess, can I ask you something? Yeah, Noble would flirt with a random girl. Imagine he calls a girl with a criminal record princess. He's cooked. Well, he's relying on the fact that he has a charming appearance to him. He's relying on the fact he has a nice-looking face to get away with it. Can I ask you something, princess? Realizing I'd never out-stubborn someone so stubborn, I let out a heavy sigh, just like Zoya. It depends. What's your ability? Straight to the point like that? He is straightforward for sure. So hi, Bard. Noble. Sooner or later, I'll figure it out anyway during a medical checkup or just by seeing it for myself. What's to hide? Besides, I've heard so much about how clever and beautiful G is. I'd obviously like to get to know her better. Oh my god, you were telling your brother how clever and beautiful I am, Noah? Zoya? Oh my gosh. Noble said my name on purpose. Definitely. Trying to butter me up. I glanced at Zoya. She shook her head. Noble immediately stepped in front of her and came closer. His multicolored green and brown eyes seemed to cast a spell on me, begging me to obey. Not gonna lie, if Noble was a woman and came up and called me princess, it would be the worst. That grin rubs me the wrong way. That's the same fucking grin you give whenever you start fucking wailing in Uma Musume, alright? That's the exact same expression you fucking give, bro. Now you know how I feel. He won't let me go that easily. I run fast. I shrugged, feeling awkward. My answer came out even more unimpressive than I imagined. Oh my god, she's like the Flash? I've met so many anomalies with cool abilities. Acute hearing, super strength. Some can even alter their voices like Zoya, for instance. My greatest feat is sprinting as quick as a flash when need be. The rest of the time, even running is a struggle. Endurance is my weakness. Well, at least maybe that would disappoint Noble enough for him not pay me so much attention. Although that hope quickly fades away, he was still looking at me like I was a treasure chest. How fast can you go? Almost at the speed of light, but I've only tried that in testing. In ordinary life, going as quick as a car is enough. How do you tell what to avoid crashing into? Intuition? Do your shoes and clothes wear out quickly? It depends on the speed. Usually it's just the sneakers that need replacing. What are the consequences? Shortness of breath? Rapid pulse? What do they forecast in case of wear and tear? Whoa, wait, when did this turn into an interrogation? Zoya, help? As if hearing my pleas, my friend came forward. You told me you're dying to sleep. Why don't you lie down and get some sleep? That was before I met Princess. Now I'm wide awake. What's your ability? I blurted it out to regain control over the conversation. About time I did. Noble narrowed his eyes slyly. The bus is coming. I was about to protest that he was just dodging my question, but the bus appeared on the horizon before I could. That's not fair, but fine. I'll get every one of Noble's secrets out. It seems like the island life is getting more interesting. Gee, are you okay? Of course. When the bus pulled up, Zoya and I stepped aside to let Noble go first. He bounded up the steps and then froze. What is it? I think I'm stuck. This life won't let me die. So possessive. His backpack's too big to get through. Noble was indeed stuck thanks to his overstuffed backpack, which was completely wedged between the bus doors. At first I expected Noble to show off his ability, maybe shape-shifting or walking through walls, but nope. He just bent his knees, filling his legs and arms, and giggled. Look, I'm flying! I glanced over at the baffled driver and a couple of passengers, their eyes widened and staring at Noble. I couldn't help but bust out laughing. I wish I could see his face. He was stuck with his back facing us. The fuck does he have in his backpack? A whole apartment? Well, he's moving to live in the city, so I'm assuming that's all of his possessions. All of his clothes at the very least. Are you even planning to get out of there? Haven't decided yet. Are we running late? While Noble and Zoya were talking, the driver slammed the door and came over. He was furious. Whatever he was saying, we couldn't understand at all. Maybe it was for the best. Before the driver went from words to actions, we had to do something. Noble, take off the backpack. We'll push it. Noble huffed irritably. It was easy for him. He wasn't the one staring down the driver's flaring nostrils and huge fists. I mean, only one backpack isn't the right idea for moving out. Well, I mean, there's probably only so much he could take. I've definitely moved out with basically like 2 boxes worth of stuff before. Hey, that's not fair. Don't tell me you're going for that pocket. Oh my god, a mysterious pocket in the front of Noble's backpack. What lies inside remains. Why is that in the dictionary? Why is that in the dictionary here? Zoya said nothing, calmly slipping her hand in the front of the backpack. I wonder what could be so secret that even Noble got upset. Before I could get any closer, he freed himself from the straps, darted down, and grabbed the zipper. However, Zoya didn't remove her hand, leaving the zipper half open. Okay, I was wrong. Noble grinned awkwardly like a child who knew what he had done was wrong, fluttering his eyelashes in a plea of forgiveness. Zoya gave him a long look. She's already done with them. She's already reached her limits, bro. I went on unzipping the backpack. Hey! Wow, looks like Noble really was trying to stake his claim. During gym class, me and Zoya were always neck and neck. We could barely manage push-ups. We'd be out of breath after a couple of laps around the stadium and dying after a 1-minute plank. I couldn't even imagine her being so strong. Well, maybe it's just Noble being weak. The driver, unlike me, wasn't impressed in the slightest. His face turned an angry crimson as he began moving towards the twins, clenching his fists. Guys? One word from me was enough to distract Zoya. Noble, not expecting her to loosen her grip, yanked the zipper violently, sending himself flying. With nothing to grab onto and being already distracted by the driver, his flight resulted in an unexpected meeting with a local asphalt. Me and Zoya froze. Even the driver stopped in his tracks, speaking now in a calmer manner. Oh yeah, soft landing. He chuckled and got to his feet, brushing off his pants. Noble got up, and I nervously fiddled with the ends of my glasses. His palms were bleeding and covered with dust. Close the pocket, will ya? Remarkable. Despite falling a meter and badly scraping his hands, leaving them covered in blood, he didn't seem to be in any pain. Another similarity with Zoya. I remember how she once trapped her whole hand in a door. She looked at her injured hand with little concern, as if she had gotten a splinter. Then, with an unsettling calmness, she headed off to the nurse's office. While I was reminiscing over the past, Zoya actually yanked the zipper back. Then she and the driver shoved the backpack inside. The man exhaled, muttering something softer this time, and headed back to his seat. I kept glancing at Noble's scraped hands. What should we do? This could get an infection. Unlike me, Zoya remained calm. She meticulously examined the wound, like how she would if she wasn't satisfied with the color combination of an outfit. Antiseptic cream? In the back pocket. Do you have any cotton pads or wipes? In the front pocket. Great. Come on, G, before this weirdo does something else. Well, you gotta clean it first. You can't put the antiseptic cream on a dirty hand, bro. We got on the bus and Zoya calmly dabbed at Noble's palm with a cotton pad. I watched her, spellbound. Once when I hurt my knee, she treated my scrape in the same calm way. Even though Zoya appeared so delicate and soft, she was incredibly calm and composed, handy during an emergency. Zoya, my hand got stuck on the door? Yeah. Noble thanked her and immediately fell asleep. For a moment, I felt disappointed. I thought he would keep us entertained with stories the whole way. I would have seized the opportunity to find out his ability. Well, this was even better. Finally, I could relax and enjoy the ride. After wedging Noble's bulky backpack by his feet so neither of them would fall, we climbed onto the back seats. As per usual, Zoya pulled out her MP3 player and gave me one of her earphones. A few moments later, a gentle, soothing melody floated in my ears. I sank into the enchanting sounds of the flute and guitar. The accordion and the quiet beat of the drum carried my thoughts far away. But the heart of the song were the vocals. A woman's timbre enveloped the entire melody, filling it with depth. Like a siren luring the sailors in, it drew me in again and again. What song has an accordion and drums and what the fuck else was in this? We'll see. The flute and guitar and accordion and drums and singing. That I want to hear this song. What kind of song is that? And then, as if echoing it, another voice joined in. At first, it sounded out of place and alien, as if we were trying to break the idyllic moment. But then, as Zoya hummed along, her voice seemed to blend with the woman's, seemingly becoming one. It's so cool to have such a simple ability. The power to copy others' voices. All I can do is dash fast over short distances, but Zoya's singing, it flowed so effortlessly that it completely captivated me. Her throat does sometimes hurt if she sings for too long, but that's a small price to pay for such a gift. Besides, the pain quickly subsides. Zoya is such an amazing person. I'm glad I managed to talk to her and share my lunch with her and suggest partnering up for our first lab project. Even though my heart belongs to Sensei, without Zoya my life would be painted in completely different colors. What is it? She noticed me staring at her. Awkward. I shook my head and closed my eyes, resting my head against her shoulder. A faint scent of chrysanthemum still lingered in the air. So G's ability is short distance speed. Got it, Flash, but from Wish. Yeah, Temu Flash, for sure. Thank you. For what? It should be me who should be thanking you. Thank you, G. Thank you so much. Then do me a favor. Do me a favor and sleep. We'll miss the stop. I opened my eyes wide. We won't. I'll keep watch. Zoya gave me a doubtful look. Then, as if giving in, she leaned her head towards the window, ready to doze off. Here, you can rest your head on my shoulder. I shrugged my shoulder in invitation. She froze. Her eyes seemed to ask, really? Is this okay? Come on. Aww. Zoya smiled with gratitude and carefully nestled against my shoulder. Her eyes fluttered shut. Sweet dreams, Zoya. No nightmares. None. She murmured as sleep finally claimed her. What floor? Second. Classroom 223. Turn right. Right. Noble, that's left, damn it. She just said it was your right. And who asked you to run backwards? My heart was thumping in my chest because of all this running. We didn't miss our stop, but we had lost plenty of time. Waking Noble up was like trying to pull a drowning man out of a swamp. Zoya insisted on bringing the chrysanthemums to the library. Noble and I sprinted down the hallway. Guess we kept skidding around corners thanks to their gigantic backpack. I'm so surprised the security guard even let him in with that thing. Noble really is charming. Or maybe it was just us sprinting like we were running from an avalanche. Here it is! Yep, straight ahead. Slow down. That was easier said than done. The inertia flung Noble straight into the wall, bringing him to an abrupt stop. My phone buzzed. Mission complete. Zoya's back. Great. Operation Seduce Sensei begins. I blushed. How do you... No, I'm sure. Thanks for your honesty, princess. Oh shit, she's done too. She's like, let's go to class, bitch. As we were about to enter, a tall girl blocked our way. Oh shit, tall girl is the former vice rep. Oh shit, hold on, I gotta blow my nose again. Real shit, how's my body making this much snot, dude? How is my body creating this much mucus? I don't get it. I don't get how I'm making this much mucus. It shouldn't be feasible. I keep blowing my nose, but it keeps coming back. Arrogant and meticulous, she dreams of becoming the new class rep. She's also in love with Sensei. Her real name is Thalissa, but G stubbornly calls her by her former title. Sleek hair pulled back into a high ponytail. Her suit was immaculate. She's wearing a suit? Your mucus is basically Springtrap at this point. It always comes back. Yeah. She looked like a younger version of a meticulous teacher. Of all the classmates we could have run into, why did it have to be the former vice class rep? The girl scanned us from head to toe before sighing in disapproval. Skipping class on the very first day and being late too. Your heads are all over the place, Jiggins. And you are? I'm new here. As you can see, Lady Jiggins has a legit excuse for being late. The former vice rep huffed. I don't recall her being related to you. And why would she greet you anyway? Isn't that the guide's job? I knew she would ask. Even I asked Zoya the same question. Noble tightened his grip on his backpack straps. I wish I would just drop the hefty bag on her head. However, Noble just smiled. It is, but it's always nice when you're welcomed by someone close, don't you think? The former vice rep looked at me and chuckled. Very close, I see. Totally. He could keep this back and forth going on forever. She must have realized there was no winning against Noble, so she rolled her eyes. Go in then. Once the girl was out of sight, I shot Noble an accusatory look. Did I need to argue with her, princess? Sorry, I keep thinking of like the Discord mod. Princess. Princess. We're very close, aren't we, princess? But then we probably wouldn't have made it to class, right? Noble gave me a warm smile and I snapped back out of it. You're right. I know. Noble giggled, opening the door. Sorry, I think I can't undo it. I can't undo it. That's his voice now. Oh, ladies first. As we walked inside, I finally realized how I felt about this mischievous boy. I would slap him then and there. As we walked inside, I finally realized how I felt about this mischievous boy. Noble was like a refreshing breeze, the kind which can lift the tension in a room and make everyone feel lighter. I shook my head and played along with Noble, confidently striding past him. Judging by his approving chuckle, he liked that. Oh, he liked that, huh? Time to find our seats. Since the lab work was already in full swing, Noble and Zoya took a seat at the back desk while I slipped into the one in front of them. Sensei allowed us to conduct experiments into groups of 2 to 4, so we decided to work through the tasks together. While the teacher was away, we managed to write down the lab template into our notebooks, equipment, experiments, formulas, and other funny stuff. Well, by the time I finished, Zoya and Noble were still struggling with the formulas. With nothing else to occupy my time with, I started reading the textbook to understand how to trigger different chemical reactions. But I found it hard to concentrate. Distracted, I noticed myself and some other of the students glancing over at the gigantic backpack we had propped up against the far wall. It stuck out like a sore thumb among the shelves and potted flowers. Much like Noble himself, he still hadn't taken off his cap despite the vice rep's demands. I wanted to watch a bit longer as she slowly lost her patience trying to reason with them, but then the doors opened, and my heart skipped a beat. Oh, Sensei. A chemistry teacher and G's homeroom teacher. He's perfect in every way. Gentle, handsome, attentive, responsible, and always ready to help. He comes from Japan, so his nickname Sensei quickly struck. He is not married and nothing is known about his relatives. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. The voices of my classmates abruptly fell silent, as if a conductor had suddenly raised his hands and ordered the choir of voices in the classroom to stop. Everyone simultaneously turned to look at the slender, tall man entering the classroom. No, not entering. Gliding with the poise of a dancer. Sensei thoroughly scanned the room as if he wanted to etch each of us into his memory. In those deep, dark eyes lingered an ancient wisdom. Fine aristocratic features, a gentle smile full of kindness and warmth, immaculate clothing, everything about him was flawless. That's cool, at least the perfect sensei, but I don't, what's the catch? I played Masao, I don't trust him. Yeah, I know, I also don't trust him. I'm also like, he's a little too perfect. It was as if the gods had sculpted Sensei themselves. As if listening to the heavens, we never called him by his real name. It had been this way for a long time. The first students who eventually discovered he'd come from Japan addressed him only as Sensei. Eventually the nickname grew so natural that even other teachers started using it. Sensei had been late to class only twice. The first time was when a girl had a nosebleed upon seeing him. And no, it wasn't me. Oh my god, dude. And he took her to the nurse's office. The second was when the principal summoned Sensei. What's the reason this time? Sorry for being late. As soon as he spoke, my mind went completely blank. Are you winning, son? We just got introduced to apparently Mr. Perfect right now. So, welcome in, set. His voice was like a majestic... She's still waxing poetic about him, bro. She's still going on, dude. Holy shit. His voice was like a majestic ocean, a deep thunder, a soft velvet. It was enveloping, captivating, enchanting, and consuming. How I longed to melt into those sweet dreams and never rise again. Noble, I see you made it here safely. Come judge us about this perfect sunset. I'm sorry, it's so funny hearing her just like go on for like 4 paragraphs about how beautiful and perfect he is. That's so funny. Hello, Sensei. Noble's voice pierced through the soft haze. I blinked hard, trying to drag myself from my foggy daydreams back into reality. So, you decided to come straight to class? That's very commendable. Sensei was still breathtakingly handsome, but now I needed to concentrate on the lesson. To come fully to my senses, I cleaned my glasses and put them back on. Sensei called Noble to the board to introduce him to the class. Well, I could spend the whole lesson talking about myself, but my time's valuable and I'm not sure the school could afford it. A ripple of laughter ran through the classroom. Even Sensei smiled. I'll be frank, my name is Noble. My strongest trait is sleeping with my eyes open, and for my weaknesses there are too many to count, so best not to worry about them. I hope to find fellow horror fans to watch movies together and go to abandoned temples. I heard there are a lot of them on the island. And if someone's willing to share their homework for chips or soda, well, we'll definitely get along. Ah, yes. Does anyone have a phone charger? I owe you one. Thank you, Noble. The class clapped politely. Some were smiling genuinely, while out of Sensei's approval or because they really enjoyed Noble's performance. My ears burned with embarrassment. How could he say all of that? Noble, it seems, didn't care. Girl out here writing fan fiction about her sensei, but Noble gives a casual introduction. She's like, how could he say that? And it's like, okay, girl. You're out here writing fucking My Immortal for your sensei. Noble, it seems, didn't care. With his roguish smile, he gave a theatrical bow and made his way to his seat. The boy beside him handed him a phone charger. Gee, Zoya, I'm glad you made it in time for my lesson. I instantly forgot about Noble. I wanted to exclaim, we'd come to your class no matter what, Sensei. We never would have skipped it, but I just smiled and fixed my glasses, though they hadn't even slipped this time. Oh, but if Sensei said that, she read another 4 paragraphs about how perfect he would have sounded. I know, it's... She gotta get a grip, bro. She gotta lock in. Our lab task is quite simple, but you should be careful not to get confused. Since you only have one lesson, it'd be enough to conduct a simple experiment called Golden Hey-yo? Hey-yo? A soft chuckle could be heard from behind. Patience. I need to be patient. Sensei explained how to work with the chemicals and then took his seat and started filling something out in the grade book. We're doing golden showers in chemistry class? I don't remember that in my chemistry class, bro. That's crazy. We went to get the flask. Judging by the look on Noble's face, I knew the fun was only just starting. I was planning on keeping an eye on him so that he wouldn't blow things up or set the class on fire, but when we reached for the chemicals, the thought completely slipped my mind. Can we rewind that? Gee, you good girl? The fuck? So what do we need? Yep, lead nitrate and potassium iodide and acetic acid. There aren't many elements in the reaction to mess it up, and the experiment should look beautiful. I've already seen it in the pictures. We can definitely handle. Noble, put the iodine back, please. Huh? We don't need it? We need iodine, potassium iodide. I've already got it. What about the lead? I have the lead nitrate. And before you ask, I've already got the acetic acid. What do I carry then? Noble looked like a pouty child who had begged to help out in the garden, only to be handed a bucket and a spade and told to go play in the sandbox. I giggled and pointed Noble to the flasks. You get the most important mission. You won't break them, right? Can't promise anything. Both of them are so done with him, bro. He keeps cracking jokes and they're like, can you shut the fuck up? I shouldn't have asked. Fortunately, we made it back safely. I immediately poured the potassium iodide into the flask and added the lead nitrate into the beaker. I need to keep in mind that it's quite toxic, so I've got to be careful with it. So we don't huff it? Zoya and Noble watched me obediently. Now we add the acetic acid to the lead, correct? I nodded. Noble, go boil the water. Can you handle that? Please. 250 milliliters, right? Wow. I thought he hadn't listened to Sensei after hearing the words golden shower. Maybe he called potassium iodide iodine for fun? Giving over him to joke, he'll drive the whole world crazy. Good memory. Noble let out a smug chuckle and eagerly lit the alcohol burner. Then, pour 175 milliliters in the beaker, the rest into the flask. As you command, princess. It was my turn to smile. Once the water had boiled, we thoroughly stirred the solutions. Only the final step remained, adding the lead nitrate to the potassium iodide. In an instant, the water had turned yellow. As if enchanted, the golden particles floated up from the bottom. It felt like we were stirring golden sand or shaking a crystal ball from which tiny snowflakes were falling. It was mesmerizing. A golden shower, indeed. Noble chuckled, clearing the leftover lead nitrate from the burner. Just as I thought, he had poured a lot more boiled water than needed, so we ended up with too much solution. He does know how to mess everything up. What is it, princess? I snapped. What's so funny? You really can't tell. Gee, just ignore him. Okay, I'm sorry for not being serious. But you all had the same thought that I did, didn't you? What were you thinking? Noble smiled cunningly. Should I say it? How loud? Judging by his look, he meant it. No, arguing with them is pointless. Okay, never mind. Do you know that, G? It all happened in a flash. I abruptly reached for Noble. The burner, thankfully, had already gone out, so I didn't burn my hand. However, Noble suddenly jolted, spilling the last of the nitrate across the table. Zoya and Noble managed to jump back, but I wasn't fast enough. Drops splattered onto my hand. Gee! My heart thrashed in my chest. I stared in terror as my skin began to hiss. Suddenly, an arm wrapped softly around my shoulders. Its warmth and tenderness nearly brought me to tears. You need to rinse your hand. Come on. Zoya and Noble put on gloves and cleaned the table. As if under a spell, I followed Sensei to the sink. I let him take my hand and put it under the running water. His skin was even more delicate than I imagined. It was a girl. You're suffering chemical burns right now. Can we lock in? Can we lock in? You're suffering chemical burns right now. I clung to that thought and slowly came to my senses. If it weren't for Sensei's lessons, nothing like this would have ever happened. I let my nerves get the better of me and I paid the price for it. So what if Noble likes to joke around? Why react like that? I dragged him and Zoya into this as well. They could have been hurt too. Yes. I need to grow up. How could I ever become anything like... Does Sensei have like fucking mind controlling powers or something? This is ridiculous. To have been cured spiritually. I think Sensei's power must be like the ability to control people, to like admire him or something. And that's the only thing I can think of. That has to be his ability. Adults are reserved. They consider their decisions carefully and would pay little attention to someone's empty talk. And me, what did I? My eyes stung with tears. Yeah, probably like some form of hypnosis. I know, dude. He's got to have like some sort of crazy hypnosis power or something. I'm sorry, Sensei. It's all right, G. Everything's fine. What matters is that you're okay. But maybe you should stop by the nurse's office, just in case. No, just a tiny bit splashed on me, and it doesn't hurt anymore. That was the plain truth. To Sensei, I simply couldn't lie. I could downplay the scale of it. Maybe. Zoya and Noble came to the sink to rinse out the rags. Gee, are you okay? It's all right. Don't worry. Zoya sighed with relief and looked at Sensei gratefully. Noble, for the first time, looked serious. Gloomy, even, as if he just lived through a catastrophe. Sorry. Forget it. It was my fault. Here's the long-awaited truce. Now, try another experiment, but this time without the quarreling. Deal? Sensei seemed to have cast a spell upon us, because this time all three of us answered in unison. Deal. Yeah, he's gotta have some sort of fucking freaky hypnosis power, dude. I'm calling it now. He's gotta. Otherwise, why is this girl writing this insane fanfiction about him every time she gets the chance? The rest of the lesson passed by without trouble. We wrapped up the work quickly, and by the time class ended, we had drifted into our own distractions. Noble was playing Snake while Zoya folded the paper into a flower. I double-checked the lab work before glancing over to admire Sensei again. He kept on reading something in our gradebook. What in the actual heck is his power? Word control? Speech hypnosis? I don't know. They haven't said yet. We go to... I guess I had to wait for the next thing to pop up. I noticed Sensei always checked the gradebook several times, writing down the homework in a separate column so students could always double-check and never forget. He was also analyzing our grades in other subjects, keeping track of our performance, ready to help us if needed. We were incredibly lucky to have Sensei as our homeroom teacher. Insanely lucky. I sighed. Why did the lesson have to end so fast? My classmates crowded around the sink to pour out their leftover solutions. Some were already hurrying to return the rinsed flasks and beakers to the chemistry lab. Sensei got up from his chair and headed towards the chaos. He caught a beaker just in time before it slipped from the sink, then gave a struggling vice rep a hand to carry a couple of empty flasks. I smiled. After such obvious attempts to grab his attention, Sensei would only see her as a helpless little child. Soon the crowd thinned and disappeared through the door, and a sudden sound from behind immediately caught my attention. Let me help. Zoya handed me the burner and 2 flasks. Noble put away his phone and stretched like a cat waking from a long nap. Then I'll take these beauties. The boy lifted a beaker and 2 measuring cups containing a dangerous liquid. Just be careful, all right? Careful's my middle name, said the guy who gave me chemical burns. I shook my head. He never learns. We finally finished washing up and handing over all the equipment. Noble rushed to the back seat. He looked like a hamster that finally found his way out of the cage. Zoya and I took our time. No point in hurrying when there are tons of boring lessons ahead. Besides, we still needed a hand in our notebooks with our lab work. While Noble was struggling with his heavy backpack, which got stuck in the aisle again, Zoya and I took notes and headed over to Sensei. The classroom was empty, only a few students who were hurried finishing formulas and others who had just started to wash their equipment. As we came closer, I caught my breath. A flutter of butterflies burst inside me, and my body felt light and airy, like a cloud. Quietly, as if afraid to awake a sleeping beauty, I put my notebook away and stepped aside for Zoya. That's it. Time to leave. Leave. Yet one comforting thought lingered. I'd finally be able to give him the bouquet after school. I could barely force myself to look away from Sensei and turned around. Zoya, G, stay for a couple of moments. I'd like to have a word with you. My chest tightened. Could it be that Sensei had already read my thoughts? Had he somehow found out that Zoya and I went to the flower shop? No one knew his true ability. It could be anything. So nobody knows? It's gotta be some form of, like, fucking hypnosis or something, dude. I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now, dude. Which was really frightening. Legs trembling, I turned back. Suddenly, I felt something warm squeeze into my hand. Zoya, thank you. Sensei flipped through a couple pages in the grade book, fixed the notebooks into a perfect stack, and then finally looked at us. What are you drinking? Water. Since you missed the first lesson, I'll repeat it for you in person. In 2 weeks, elections for the class rep club will be held. Gee, if I remember correctly, at the end of last year, you expressed a desire to participate? Oh, the student council. It's secretly named the Sensei Club because he's in charge of the club. Oh my god, each class selects a representative and vice representative. The elections will be held in 2 weeks. The participant is required to apply for it and give a speech. Oh my gosh. That's the final one of the dictionary so far. Relief rushed through me, replaced by anticipation. Right, the elections. The class rep club was a student council. From each class, a rep and a vice rep were chosen. 3 times a week, the elected students gathered for meetings to discuss academic performance, career guidance, events organization, and medical checkups. Sounds boring, right? However, the class rep has another, more popular name among the students. I don't think it's hard to guess. The Sensei Club. The name speaks for itself. Some years ago, students wanted to be elected only because Sensei was in charge of the club. One can easily imagine the chaos which ensued because of such people. Since then, the voting system has been refined. Before, the rep and vice rep are chosen only by the students and the homeroom teacher. Now, the decision also involves other teachers and even the principal. As Sensei said, the elections begin 2 weeks after the start of classes. This is my graduation year, so I want to use every opportunity to stay close to Sensei. Fortunately for me, the smart and resourceful class rep left the islands for some reason at the end of last school year, which left only one rival in my class, the former vice rep. She won't give up her place easily. I'll have to put in a lot of effort into winning. Yes, I really want to participate. Thank you for reminding me, Sensei. Zoya, you requested extra English assignments. Here they are. Thank you very much. Wow, she really decided to take her studies seriously. At the end of last year, when Zoya told me she wanted to enter a prestigious design university, I didn't believe her. She was never passionate about studying. She was more into paper crafts and sewing. But now I couldn't help but admire the perseverance with which she pursued her dream. Humanities had always been harder for her. I shot Zoya a glance. When I told her I wanted to run for class rep, I couldn't bring myself to ask her for help. It was mainly because Zoya was already part of the sewing club, and the class rep club weren't allowed to be into 2 clubs at once. Fair enough. Burnout, especially for anomalies, is quite dangerous. To win, I need to find someone to be vice rep, even though they might not become one. Zoya decided to focus on her studies, so I definitely shouldn't ask for her help. How do I find a candidate? I'll think about it later. For now, I just need to keep my spirits up. Well, I won't keep you any longer. Have a good day. Sensei's smile didn't fade, even when the loud crash echoed from the back of the classroom. Noble. Looks like your friend needs a little help. Sensei looked calmly at Noble, who was sprawled on the floor, crushed by the immense weight of his backpack. I almost bust out laughing. Well, I'll definitely help him, Sensei. Zoya was already rushing to her brother. Her face was stern, as if she was a strict parent about to scold their naughty child for breaking an expensive vase. Huh. So much pain. So young. So, young man, will it be chicken with rice or fish? Can I get half and half? Ah, and coconut milk, please. Zoya, will you really buy all this for him? I took the money out of his backpack. Noble, as usual, hasn't even bothered to close the zippers in the front pocket where he kept it. Happy Noble, absorbed in studying the menu, has no idea that nobody was going to apologize for the bump swelling on the back of his head. After we paid for our meals and stepped aside from the counter, Noble suddenly gasped. I thought he was about to complain about the pain again, which he'd gotten the bump by hitting his head on the chair leg, by the way, but his suggestion exceeded all my expectations. Maybe we should eat somewhere else? What's wrong with the cafeteria? It's hot in here. Maybe you should take off your vest? But it's so dear to me, I feel naked without it. But don't you want something new? To break the daily routine, to go looking for adventure? Was he always like this? At least he's calmer now. As a kid, the only thing he didn't do was dive into a volcano. Hey, I can hear you. Stop whispering. Oh, come on. It's just a suggestion. I'm not dragging you there. We won't have lunch in a volcano, I promise. Do you, though? Do you really promise? I don't know if I trust that. His expression suddenly changed. What is it? Oh. My eyes flicked over to the former vice rep who was still glaring at us from across the cafeteria. I see. Noble was right about one thing. We really did need to break out of our daily routine. Zoya followed my gaze and nodded in understanding. Do you mind eating somewhere else? If you're happy, then so am I. That's the spirit. Where are we going? I recalled 2 places where we could have lunch peacefully. Go up to the rooftop or go outside to the schoolyard. Go to schoolyard. Right away, I remembered the beautiful sakura trees casting shadows with baby pink petals. The gentle breeze, the scent of wildflowers and grass always lifted my spirits. Yep, having lunch outside was a great idea. Want to go hang out in the yard? Hell yeah. Let's go. Zoya smiled dreamily, maybe recalling how I had once treated her to lunch under the sakura. As we neared the tree, I couldn't tear my eyes away from it. The tall, slender sakura spread its blossoming branches as if inviting us to come closer. A playful breeze blew the waiting petals to the ground. Whoa, we were sitting in class instead of sleeping here? Noel plopped himself down, turning to face upward towards the baby pink leaves falling from the tree. Oh my god. I bet Noble will say something like, "Oh, princess, you have something on you. Let me queen it up for you." Yeah. And then I'll reach to pull a petal out of my hair. That's a classic. That's a standard move. This time, even Zoya smiled as if agreeing with his words. We'll know where to look for you now. Zoya and I sat down beside him. We opened our lunch boxes, ready to eat. But we really couldn't enjoy the picnic vibe. Why is no one here? How could I ever think Noble would have a calm lunch? What an unbreakable spirit. Looks like he's not dropping it, so it's better to tell him quickly and finally eat. Everyone's used to it now. The sakura has lost its charm. Heathens. He'll forget about it soon enough. Wrong. I bet he'll come here every... Sadly, Noble didn't even get the chance to finish the sentence. Who the hell is that? A hoarse, sleepy voice came from nearby, but its owner was nowhere to be seen, like they were hiding on purpose, not wanting to be disturbed or discovered. Looks like we won't be eating today after all. Maybe we should go? Huh? Why's that? Zoya nodded towards the sakura. Noble gave the tree a good look, gathering his thoughts. Then he raised his hands towards the sky. Oh, venerable tree spirit, we apologize for the racket. We'll just eat and be gone, okay? Just shut up already, jeez. The person above the tree coughed, and I listened closely. Initially, the voice appeared to come from behind the tree, but that was an illusion. I tilted my head up. The voice was coming right from... I should have kept my eyes on the lunchbox. One of the thick branches sat a boy I never wished to meet again. Raj. Zoya muttered under her breath, but I heard her anyway. Yes, Raj. My childhood best friend. The very reason I chose to come to Libertas Island. Oh my gosh. G's childhood friend and the principal's grandson. He ignored any of G's attempts to rekindle their friendship. Once a cute and kind boy has become a malicious bully who hates those around him. As a child, he used to love stuffed toys. He also frequently skips lessons, but he's quickly catching up. Oh my god. And Lydia. Wow. We're not missing anymore, are we? That's all of them. Okay. And my ex-friend. We'd only seen each other here a couple of times, and I still couldn't get used to how much he'd changed. Even his name had faded into oblivion. Gee, wait, gee. A little boy tripped over his untied lace, immediately falling onto the ground. Ow, that hurts. Gee. I whipped my head around so fast my pigtails smacked me in the face. So, what do you want? Gee. The boy stretched out his hands to me like a baby longing for his mother's embrace. I sighed heavily. I told you not to go out alone. Why didn't you wait for me? Why were you messing with those bullies again, huh? They were calling you names. I don't want them saying mean things about you. Only I can say mean things about you. Raj covered his face with his hands and burst into tears. My cheeks flushed with embarrassment. Oh, that's it. I thought he just wanted to prove to them that he's not a baby or a wimp. No matter what the bullies call Raj, he never fought back. I did. But today was different. He hadn't waited for me to back him up. He had just jumped straight into the fight, coming back covered in bruises with a missing tooth. Luckily, I heard the shouting and rushed over to help. I didn't even want to think about what would have happened if all this hadn't taken place near my house. I crouched next to him. Raji calmed down, sniffling a little, but he didn't move his hand away. Raji, the boy sobbed. I'm sorry, G. I'm terrible, aren't I? Why would you say that? I always bring you trouble, even when I try to defend you. I carefully touched his hand. He flinched as if he'd been hit. It's okay, Raji. I like being friends with you. Aw, he was such a cute kid. What happened? The trouble is the bully's fault. Come on, look at me. He finally showed his face. Tearful, dirty, but incredibly happy. Raji always looked at me as if I was a precious treasure to be cherished and kept safe. Today, though, Raj glared at me like he wanted to burn me alive. What are you doing here? I still don't understand why he began to hate me so much. It was Raj who left without a word. It was Raj who treated me coldly, pretended we were complete strangers, only to snap at me and tell me to stay away. So why? I look away, not daring to look at him anymore. Noble, on the other hand, looked up and chuckled in surprise. Whoa, you're not going to fall off there, are you? There even seemed to be a hint of hope in his voice. He really does live for the thrills. Raj shot Noble a hateful glare. If I fall, you'll be the only one who suffers. As if to prove his words, Raj jumped off skillfully, launching himself right towards Noble. He barely dodged the attack. What the? Good reflexes. Raj landed smoothly, sliding his hands into his pockets. He used to hide candy there to give me later. I struggled to suppress the memory. By the way, haven't you ever fallen from a tree as a kid? I did a lot of things as a kid. Raj only glimpsed at me, but that was enough to make my insides twist into a tight knot. Guess I'm not hungry anymore. Maybe we should eat somewhere else? Zoya tried to lighten the mood and slurped her coconut milk loudly. Raj looked at her like he stepped on a cockroach. You're all so noisy. Noisy? We're not shouting. Raj snorted, abruptly turning around before Noble had finished talking. He strolled off down one of the garden paths. It seemed that even the petals beneath his feet withered from the poison seeping out from every cell in his body. Noble brushed it off and rolled his eyes. Man, what a jerk. Who is he anyway? The principal's grandson. I looked at Zoya with gratitude. She smiled understandably. Nepotism, huh? How about that Raj hole skips class, smokes harsh and filterless cigarettes, and smashes windows at night? Raj hole? Did you really just say that? Noble lifted his chin proudly. A smug look was plastered across his face as if to say, look how smart I am. Come on, praise me. I forced myself to keep a straight face. Zoya even more so. She seemed so used to Noble's jokes that nothing could surprise or amuse her anymore. Traitors. It is what it is. You're one to complain. Noble puffed out his cheeks, but quickly snapped back to his cheerful self. Okay, golden retriever, you want a snack? Yeah, give him a Scooby snack. He deserves a little Scooby snack. So what's his deal with this Raj hole? Looks like he's still hoping to make an impression. I don't know about the smoking and breaking windows, but he does skip lessons. But they say he catches on fast and passes all the tests. I guess he has tutors then. He doesn't look like a genius, more like a child who can't grow up. Zoya and I remained silent. Sure, Noble was right about Raj, but Raj wasn't the only one. Uh-huh. Yeah, it takes one to know one, huh? Hi, Spicy Nugget. Once upon a time, Raj was the only person in the entire world who understood me, listened to me, and wanted to protect me. Why do people change so suddenly? I kept chewing some pieces of jackfruit, but I tasted nothing at all. Suddenly, something poked my hand. Do you like coconut milk? Just as I reached for the milk Noble was handing me, Zoya slid closer and casually opened some chocolate. Do you want some? Hey, that was supposed to be for me to share with Princess. So, you're not allowed. The assistant spot's reserved, and there's only one. Noble threw his hands and bent down to Zoya, but I could still perfectly hear well what he said. I had a chance to win her trust, and you ruined it. Thank you. I really was grateful. Noble smiled and pulled faces while Zoya rolled her eyes. When he impersonated the angry bus driver straining, whether from rage or from incontinence, I burst out laughing. Noble, you're nuts. I almost snorted milk out my nose. Zoya quickly handed me a napkin. I started wiping myself off. Noble, pleased with the effect, leaned back lazily against his backpack. Right, since he brought up this morning. By the way, what's in your front pocket? I had been that confident little G for a long time, someone who would punch bullies and stick her tongue out at grumpy shopkeepers. The one who always asked questions, trying to learn everything. So even I was shocked. I just straight up asked Noble about such an embarrassing secret. I felt lost. Noble was too. It was the first time he actually shut up for like 2 seconds. Yes, Noble, don't you want to share with us? Are we that close already? Man, he pulled himself together so fast. I kept looking between Zoya and Noble. They looked at each other as if they held the secret to destroying the world or knew the answers to every test. The latter would have been really handy. Too bad it's impossible. Noble was the first to break. I could have said I had some plan to overthrow the principal and take over the island, some local treasure maps, or a route through plagued villages. But you wouldn't believe me. I wouldn't. It's a shame. While Noble reached into his pocket, Zoya gave him a suspicious look, raising her eyebrow. A moment later, he pulled out a folded sheet of paper, and she smirked. Are there really maps in there? A plan? I didn't believe him. It can't, right? He began slowly unfolding the paper. So slowly, I changed my mind several times about what it might be. By the time I decided it was probably something inappropriate, I saw some strange, ornate symbols. It's a summoning ritual for the demon of knowledge who helped me pass my 9th grade exams. Almost immediately, Noble folded the sheet back. Okay, that's enough, or else you might memorize it and become A+ students. Zoya gave her brother an indescribable glance. Do you understand what's written in there? Of course, or else the spell wouldn't have worked. But it's not even Latin. What language is that? Noble narrowed his eyes slyly. Latin, too easy. It's way more interesting to study languages that are a lot more ancient. I couldn't tell if he was joking or serious because Noble, as usual, quickly changed the subject. Surprisingly, his story about the trip to the island drew me in so much I didn't even notice that lunch was ending. It was time to head back to school. Thank you. Was it fun? Absolutely. Great then. No matter what, G, you can count on me. Thanks to the twins, I'd managed to calm down and head to class as confident as I was before. During the rest of the school day, Noble managed to chat with half the class, borrow Zoya's phone to play Snake, and even learn about the school swimming club. He didn't waste his time, that's for sure. I was doing my best to pay attention in class. If I want to become class rep, I need to start improving my grades now. The problem was my concentration didn't last long. Within 5 minutes, I'd be doodling in my notebook or gazing aimlessly outside. Zoya, on the other hand, listened carefully to the teachers, as if she built a barrier blocking out all background noise. When the final bell rang, Zoya handed me her notebook. Don't forget to copy down the homework, future class rep. Right, I keep forgetting mine. Thanks a lot, Zoya. Are you sure you're qualified to be class rep? You're heading to the sewing club now, right? Zoya nodded hesitantly. Want me to come with you? No need, I got this. I'll tell you everything in the evening, don't worry. Promise? Everything? Of course. Zoya calmed down only after we'd pinky promised. When we left the classroom, Noble had already vanished. Surprisingly, I didn't hear his noisy backpack. Okay, focus. I need to fetch the chrysanthemums from the library and find Sensei. If she represents the class like that, we're cooked. I know, dude. Okay, where could he be? Should I wait for him at the school entrance? Or try my luck in the teacher's room? Or maybe Sensei's still packing up the chemistry room? Ah, I'm sorry. But Principal? I stepped back immediately, not even daring to push my glasses back up. Principal Revi. Oh, nobody knows her ability either? A stately and graceful woman corrected me. Bumping into her, messed up my hair, knocked my glasses out of place, and took my breath away. The principal, on the other hand, looked only as if a breeze had brushed past her. I apologize, Principal Revi. It's nothing, G. Just be more careful next time. Sure. The principal inspired awe and admiration in everyone she met. No wonder she was the one who started the Anomalies research project. Everything about her exuded power and grace, the steady, clear gaze, the gentle, inviting smile, the lifted chin, and most of all, the beautiful, delicate fingers holding her square glasses. When I first came to school, I didn't see a single teacher or student wearing glasses. I started to panic. What if they mocked me? Like she could even afford contacts, or she just wants to look smart, but she's actually stupid. Oh my god, dude. I can't wear contacts. I can't. It's so annoying. I don't like contacts. I had them in high school, but like the prescription I think was like slightly off or something, because my vision was not as clear as it was if I just wore normal glasses. It would be slightly off, right? It was such a pain. I hated taking them out. That was the worst part. I could put them in and it sucked, but I could put them in, but I hated taking them out, dude. It sucked. I hate contacts. So I've always just stuck with glasses. They're just more comfortable. I don't know. I never got it. Also, I gotta blow my nose again, bro. Oh, when will the mucus end? Okay, I'm good now. Principal Ravi dispelled all my fears, and I was grateful for that. But what a clumsy meeting it was. From now on, I'll be 100, no, 1,000 times more careful. As I berated myself, the principal lifted a hand towards her nose to adjust her glasses, then seemingly remembered she wasn't wearing them, instead dropping her hand to touch the glasses chain resting against her chest instead. How are you finding the start of the year? Great, Principal Ravi. I heard you were quite ill this summer. Is everything okay? Yes, I'm fine. It was just tonsillitis and fatigue. That's good. It seems you're in a hurry. I won't keep you any longer. Her voice was stern yet caring. Once again, I was admiring how amazing she was. I hope one day I can at least be a little bit like her. It's unlikely I'll ever inspire such awe, but maybe I'll still have a chance to become a person of there's value and respect. Thank you, Principal Ravi. It was a pleasure to meet you. G was sick in the summer. India's sick now. I know. G passed her sickness on to me. How could she? How could she? Likewise, G. Have a good school year. Try not to make any mistakes. After the principal disappeared around the corner, I lingered, looking after her, replaying those precious moments of our conversation, trivial though they were. Alright, let's see. Let's go ahead and quick save. We'll go to the chemistry class, probably. First, I need to check the chemistry class. The lesson ended not long ago, so there's still a good chance of meeting Sensei there. I raced up to the second floor. I was running so fast I nearly slammed into the door. Whoops. Sometimes the side effects of high-speed running can be inconvenient. I slowed down only once I'd reached the door I wanted. My breath started to steady. Go to Sensei's house. Okay, stalker. I know, dude. How the fuck you know where he lives? That's scary, bro. After making sure my voice was firm, my hair smooth, and my glasses straight, I pulled the handle. The door was unlocked. A good sign. Sensei? I carefully stepped inside like a predator stalking its prey. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. Empty. After checking the storage room with the chemicals and equipment, I went over to the desk to confirm my hunch. A gradebook lay on the desk, which obviously belonged to the teacher's room. Sensei would be back soon. Should I wait? What if he forgot about it and he's now heading home from the teacher's room? But has Sensei ever forgotten anything? Questions piled up on my mind, and I grew more and more uncertain about what to do. Enough. If I stay this indecisive, I'll never be on Sensei's level. Come on, G, focus. Everything will be fine. So hi, Darren. Welcome in. I took my favorite front desk, the one closest to the teacher, and carefully began unwrapping the chrysanthemums. The flowers had wilted a little, but they still looked wonderful. Just looking at them calmed me down and immersed me deep in thought. If Sensei walked in now, I'd stand up right away, acting cool like I hadn't been waiting all this time. Did you forget something, G? He would say. His smooth, deep voice would make my heart skip a beat, but I'd hide it, pretending like I wasn't staring at Sensei in awe. Yes, Sensei, I wanted to tell you something. I'm listening. Sensei would smile gently and step closer. He'd probably think I just want to ask for a couple more chem textbooks again. But how wrong he'd be. Could you come a little closer? Of course, Sensei would comply. He always cared for his dear students, listening to and indulging their requests. We'd be almost face to face. She's writing fan fiction while she's waiting. She's writing more fan fiction. This girl cannot stop writing her self-insert fan fiction. Sensei would lean towards the bouquet as if noticing it for the first time. I'd push it nearer and myself along with it. Can I help you? Yes, Sensei. I'd rise slightly from my desk, leaning towards him. Absorbed in the bouquet, Sensei would only then realize how close I was. Gee, what are you? I love you, Sensei. I love you a lot. Damn, did I really say that out loud? Really? Huh? That was quite the performance. A pair of deep, searching eyes fixed their gaze upon me. It felt as if a single glance could drown me, so fierce and unbridled was the rage and strength within them. A chill ran through me. Why him? Why? Raj, My mind was a blur. My voice was gone. I had no idea how to begin the conversation. How do I ask him not to tell anyone? How much had he heard? But now he's the stalker. I know, dude. As if sensing he had me cornered, Raj smirked. I'll go drop this grade book off at the teacher's room. Or should I call your beloved sensei? The nickname was like a trigger. I grabbed the bouquet and hurled it at Raj. What the? Jeez, sorry. I wanted to apologize to put an end to the conflict, but all I could do was bury my face in my hands helplessly. I'm so pathetic. Useless, good-for-nothing idiot. Hey. Hold on. If you want to toss them back at me, at least let me remove my glasses. I don't want to smash the lenses. However, Raj didn't throw anything back. Instead, he carefully placed the flowers back down on the table. Come on, look at me. It's okay, Raji. I like being friends with you. The trouble's the bully's fault. Come on, look at me. Hello? Hello? Raj spent so much time dodging me that his sudden attention left me confused. He defied everything I expected. He didn't curse or lash out. He didn't even make fun of me. He looked at me for a long time as if trying to memorize my face and let out a short scoff. I saw Sensei leaving through the gate. Hurry and you might catch him. Lucky for you, the bouquet is still intact. Aww. Is he being a little tsundere? With that, Raj stepped back and turned to leave. Wait! Without thinking, I grabbed his overalls. What am I even doing? Raj flinched and gave me a startled look. What do you need? I kept thinking I should beg him to keep it a secret, try to appease him, to apologize for the 1,000th time. Instead, I finally asked the question that's been haunting me. Why do you hate me so much? Raj froze. I, on the other hand, regained my composure and took a step closer, cornering him. You left without saying goodbye, and when I came here, you acted like you wanted nothing to do with me. Intimidated, Raj clung tightly to the bouquet of chrysanthemums, like a drowning sailor clinging to driftwood, but his face gave nothing away. I know people change and childhood promises are nothing, but will you at least say why? I don't want us to be enemies. I don't want you looking at me like that. I lowered my head, unable to meet his eyes. My glasses slipped down my nose, threatening to fall to the ground, but I couldn't bring myself to adjust them. They felt like dead weight. I don't want to hurt you. His words were so ridiculous that I raised my head sharply in anger. You already are. There was an immense look of grief in Raj's eyes, as if he just witnessed the death of a loved one. His eyes changed color, bro. But that wasn't what shocked me. The bouquet between us had withered in an instant. In the blink of an eye, the chrysanthemums had shriveled up, crying out in silence like maidens set aflame before collapsing lifelessly. Raj, don't come any closer. Raj shoved the bouquet into my hands and ran out, slamming the door so hard it felt like the whole building might collapse. Oh, he was trying to protect her by keeping her at a distance because he's scared of his power. Does his ability decay? It might be like time, you know? Like the ability to control time. Who knows? We don't actually know what his exact ability is yet. Raj shoved the bouquet into my hands and ran out, slamming the door so hard it felt like the whole building might collapse. Luckily it didn't, but the image of Raj as the heartless, cruel thug he'd always feared he would become was completely shattered. Oh my god, she has a sensei plushie? Girl, you are obsessed with him. You need help. All the way back to the dorms, he was the only thing on my mind. It wasn't until I reached my room that I noticed I was still clutching the withered bouquet. Sensei. The exhaustion and disappointment hit me so hard that I curled up and slept until Zoya woke me. Are you okay? Yep. Not getting changed? Right. Just a second. The real question is, how the heck does she have a sensei plushie? What is he, a famous? She probably made it herself. Have you never made a plushie before? I've made plushies before. I've used like old t-shirts and dresses and stuff, and then I stuff them with cotton and I sew them up. You guys have never made a plushie before from scratch? Never made a plot. You should. It's fun. I remember for a like a Christmas gift swap, where like everybody has like a Secret Santa. I remember for a Secret Santa, I made a crab plush for somebody because they really like crabs. So I literally like hand sewed a little crab plushie for them. To keep Zoya from worrying even more, I forced myself out of bed, walked over to the closet, pulling off my t-shirt along the way. Oh my god, we're changing right in front of Zoya? We're gonna kill her, bro. As I changed, Zoya chatted about her new dress, how hard it was to sew on ruffles, and how many times her clubmate had redone a patch. I felt somewhat better after hearing her story, but the ache in my chest refused to go away. Will you tell me what's bothering you? Raj. Unable to speak, I flopped on the bed and fighting the urge to cry. The bed springs creaked as Zoya sat down next to me. Don't force yourself. Tell me when you're ready. Sorry. It's okay. For some time, we stayed silent. Zoya gently stroked my head as soon as I calmed down. Finally, I decided to open up about the pain, at least that which I'd been able to process. The bouquet never reached Sensei in the end. It's okay. We can buy another one. Yeah, I still have a chance. There will definitely be another chance. For instance, when I become class rep and thank him for all his hard work. Little by little, thinking about Sensei drew me away from the heavy and sad thoughts of Raj. To get it off my chest, I retold the entire encounter to Zoya, leaving out the part about his abilities. I felt like someone had revealed a secret too personal to ever be entrusted to anyone else. Anyway, I had to try to forget it. If Raj didn't want people close, he must have his reasons. By now, I had no doubts left. Good night. Sweet dreams. As Zoya disappeared down the hallway, I sensed the air leaving with her, making it harder to breathe. Okay, relax. Think of something nice and it'll be fine. Yes, with time, it'll all pass. Thinking about Sensei helped me finally drift off to sleep. Despite Zoya wishing me sweet dreams, my dreams were anything but. Oh shit, we entering dreamland now? The scent of wet grass and flowers tickled my nose. I opened them. I found myself standing before a wide meadow covered in flowers. Endless rows of chrysanthemums, carnations, and poppies stretched as far as the eye could see, gently kissed by the soft warmth of the rising sun. A pleasant morning dew chilled my bare feet. Dragonflies with glimmering wings drifted through the meadow, already awake and going about their business. The air, only now started to warm up, was filling with moisture, the scent of flowers, and the joyful anticipation. What a wonderful dream. I spread my arms wide and ran through the grass like how I once did when I was a child. My fingertips brushed over the petals while the flower's rough stems tickled my heels. It's so beautiful here. I kept running and running, yet the field never ending, forever the same. The same flowers, the same grass. The sun rose higher and higher, breathing life into the frozen scene. As the light grew brighter, the darkness faded away. The sun's beams slowly replaced the shadows. The petals, the flowers deepened in color. I ran over to a pile of gray stones that seemed to be out of place in this picture. What's that? From far away, I thought they'd simply been tossed into a heap, as if an irritated tourist had swept them off the road into a pile to clear the way. Or perhaps the shamans had held funerals for the dead and later someone had destroyed their graves. But the stones arranged into pyramids stood intact and indestructible. Why is this a word? Like a dictionary word. I know what a pyramid is. Some mysterious pyramids. Okay. Why is that in the dictionary? I don't need to know that. Stood intact and indestructible. There were small rocks interspersed with bigger ones, and it was amazing how structure could maintain its balance. There were 2 pyramids. Even if no witchcraft had been performed here, some kind of ritual had surely taken place. Maybe it was a private ceremony? Is there someone else here? I looked around. I realized the field of flowers wasn't flat at all, but rather a gently sloped downhill. The flowers fell into a funnel, spilling over the other side. I could hear laughter over here, too. It was soft and bright like the chimes of a bell. Carefully, I ventured down the hill, flowers spreading across it like jewels woven into the braid. The sea of flowers spread over the many hills nearby, stretching up until a long, winding river. 2 people were sat down by the riverside. Why is this also... The boy closely resembles Sensei, although it's not actually him. G remembers them both vividly. Maybe they were a manifestation of G's desperate desire to win over Sensei's heart. There is a skinny girl splashing her feet in the water and a tall, broad young man holding her by the shoulders. Take that! Serves you right. That's what you get for tickling me. Oh no, someone save me from this scary girl. I was so wrapped up in watching them mess around, I hadn't even realized I'd come closer and sat nearby. Flower stems coiled around my legs while braids of grass tickled my belly. It felt rude to watch. Even though it was my dream, they seemed so real. I'll linger a little while, and then leave. Could there be someone else here other than this never-ending field? He tickled her again, and the girl fell laughing onto the flower buds. The boy turned, smiling at her. My heart skipped a beat. A finely chiseled, honest face, a gentle smile, those soft, kind eyes that could only belong to one person in the universe. It can't be. Sensei? He paid me no attention, continuing to tickle the girl. Her tangled, fair hair had chrysanthemum leaves sticking out of it. Strands of it fell over her eyes, clearly irritating her, yet he didn't bother to brush them away. In a daze, I examined him, recognizing more and more familiar features, and yet... No, this wasn't Sensei. He resembled my favorite teacher, but he wasn't him. I only felt truly relieved once I noticed there was no mole in the corner of his left eye. My heartbeat slowed and my chest brimmed with an overwhelming joy. After all, I'd seen someone resembling my beloved Sensei. While I regained my composure, the boy started hugging the girl again. She kept kicking with her legs, but without the same enthusiasm. Tired? Now that she wasn't watching the river, but the sky. Occasionally he followed her gaze before removing the petals from her hair. From time to time he looked over in my direction. At first I thought he had noticed me, but his gaze suggested he was looking straight through me. It felt a little creepy, as if I was just a mirage, nothing more than a part of their dream. Even so, it's nice to be invisible sometimes. Brother. What is it? The girl pointed at a big fluffy cloud. I keep searching for fairies, but I can't see them. Didn't you say they never leave the sky? With puffed cheeks and hands on her hips, she pouted. The boy smiled and my heart started racing again. That's right. The fairies are still there. We can only see them at night. They live on the stars, remember? Then, why can't we see the stars? The girl looked at the boy, and he gently stroked her head. The sun's too bright, so our eyes can't see anything. But at night we can always find the fairies and even talk to them. Aw, but to talk to them we have to wait so long. And why can't we just be born fairies? Why does it take so much effort to turn into one? I want to be a fairy, to fly high in the sky, always smiling, living the most wonderful world. The boy's face grew serious, like a parent watching their child cross the street at a red light. Remember what I said? Turning to a fairy is dangerous, and even being one is even more dangerous. You have to sacrifice a lot for this. The girl rummaged in her pockets, pulling out a few candies, a button, and a thimble. I'm ready. Take me with you. The boy laughed. Sadly, I'm talking about things we can't touch, like time or love. Like when you're going to leave us behind to go there? Well, I'm not exactly leaving you. I don't want to become some powerful fairy. I just want to reach that world and test myself. I'll be visiting you, sweetheart. Promise? Of course. And if you lie and don't visit, then I'll accept your harshest punishment. The girl laughed and lunged to tickle her brother. He gave a faint smile, but let her do whatever she liked. Though a sorrowful, thoughtful look lingered in his eyes. Dusting off my skirt, I turned away. Enough eavesdropping in other people's businesses. I better take a look around those strange stone structures. Maybe I'll notice something curious. As I made my way uphill, I glanced back a couple of times. The two carried on laughing and chattering, carefree as ever. It was eerie, as if they were forever frozen in that moment, doomed to live there for eternity. It's okay. It's just a dream. I wonder if I'll remember anything when I wake up. Usually I forget everything. Maybe because I never get to finish my dreams. An alarm, a message from Zoya, something always interrupts them. Only fragments of my dreams stay with me, but they always slip away by evening, dissolving into a blurry mess of vague memories. I finally reached the pyramids again and studied the strange structure. I had a faint memory of them. Maybe I saw them in a documentary? Maybe about Stonehenge or some African tribes? Hey! An unexpected shout came from behind me. My heart skipped a beat again. Not from joy, but from unease. Who's that? And why can't he see me? I slowly turned around. Before me stood an unfamiliar young man whose look didn't match the beautiful scenery at all. Messy hair, a tired, sleepy gaze, and glasses! Well, would you look at that? I squinted, staring at the stylish big square lenses. Maybe he likes wearing them just for looks. I need to focus. Should I start a conversation? It's always so weird to me whenever I get a decent or good dream. I forget it in the span of an hour, but nightmare for life. Yeah, nightmares can hit heavy, man. I've had some pretty crazy ones. I don't know about glasses, but Derry's always big stylish. I'll put on my glasses too. Now we're all matching. We're the glasses gang, baby. Oh my gosh, cow evening. Hi, J-Ball. Though he was the one who called out, he seemed confused, just watching me, studying me closely. It was unsettling. I felt like I was some kind of lab animal. I should make it clear who's in charge of this dream. The glasses gang. You'll never see us coming. We'll also never see ourselves coming. Not the friendliest way to begin, is it? My name's G. And yours? Can you see me? Why is he shocked? First he calls out to me, now he stares at me like I'm a ghost? As you can see. I should stop hanging out with Noble or my jokes will get even worse. The stranger seemed to ignore my words, instead walking closer. I found myself backing up, caught off guard by his scrutinizing look. A light breeze whipped a few petals into the air. I shivered and hugged my shoulders. Something wrong? Are you aware this is a dream? What a strange question. My heart pounded heavily as fear seeped up from the depths of my subconscious. I'm definitely dreaming, otherwise you wouldn't be asking such strange questions. Huh. You're right. People don't usually ask that, not even in a dream. My name's Lucas. Nice to meet you. Ability appears in others' dreams. I mean, I kind of figured that. Lucas offers his hand, and I found myself shaking it. You have an interesting name. My parents spent a long time deciding. In Greek, it means light. What's yours? He looked at me intently, as if genuinely interested. Guess I'll have to disappoint him. My parents didn't think too much when choosing my name. Maybe they just never told you why they picked it. Are you the first child? He seemed rather lacking in tact. I ignored the question, which didn't seem to bother Lucas at all. When it's a long-awaited child, especially a firstborn, parents research everything and choose a meaningful name. My mom named me after a singer and an actress. My mom did not she did not put that much effort into my name. He examined me with a sharp and icy stare as if I was a test subject. I'm sure they just didn't tell you. I never said I was the first child. No, but I think you are, though. What? How do you know? I, too, was named after a singer. Let's go. Lucas huffed in triumph. Indy and Dare are named after a singer and an actress. Yeah. My first and my middle name are both a singer and an actress. Your reaction gave it away. Bluffing is the easiest way to check. Well played. I can't deny it. Sorry if I crossed the line. I was just curious. Maybe I should try sneaking off? No, I feel like something won't let me leave. Meanings carry real weight, especially in dreams, like hidden symbols. I could no longer tell if he was speaking more to me or to himself. What a mysterious guy. He sees me. He understands that we're in a dream. Furthermore, he understands we're in my dream. Maybe that's what's keeping me from running away. It's time to ask my own questions. This is me speaking with my imagination, right? You don't exist in reality? Judging by his look, my question hadn't bothered him at all. If anything, Lucas's eyes grew more interested in me. And what is reality? Gee, bro, I'm asleep. You can't be asking me these philosophical questions while I'm quite literally asleep. How does he come up with such strange and unpredictable questions? Nope, not giving in. I'll come up with a clever reply this time. Reality is what we can see. Then dreams are a kind of reality too. Just admit you're trying to dodge giving me a straight answer. Lucas huffs in a triumph. You got me, so I'll respond regardless. I'm not a figment of your actual imagination. I exist. I can also enter others' dreams. So that's your ability? Then why aren't your eyes glowing gold? Lucas hesitated before answering, as if gathering his thoughts. Finally, I'd gotten him somewhat flustered. Great. I'm celebrating beating a strange guy from my dreams. All states of mind, but what if you fall asleep in a dream? I've done that before. I've had dreams where I fell asleep and then woke up after I had a dream within my dream. Very trippy. Very fucked up, man. It's a weird experience to dream that you fall asleep and have a dream and then wake up in the dream still. And then you wake up in real life. We're in a dream. Things work a bit differently here. By the way, this is my real appearance. Is that yours? It seemed he was once more avoiding a clear answer. Fine. I wouldn't press the issue. Yes, this is how I look in real life. Weird, right? In dreams, you usually change into an animal or a different person. I guess this dream is different from others. If nothing else, because I met you. Lucas gave his faint smile, but his eyes reflect an icy calm. As a thank you for your answers, I'll show you something interesting. Lucas pulls a small dreamcatcher-shaped amulet from his pocket. Its feathers clink against each other with a metallic chime. Do you want to take a closer look? Before I could answer, Lucas hands me the amulet. I carefully took it in my hands. Its chill from the metal stung my fingertips, yet there was nothing suspicious about it. No eerie lights, nothing magic at all. A bit disappointing, actually. But even so, the amulet was very beautiful. Were you expecting it to shine? You can't read my thoughts, can you? It's just that your face is very expressive. Man, I can't escape it, even in a dream. Don't worry. In fact, it's kind of cute. Thanks? I wonder if he often says things like this to other girls. Enough getting distracted by him. I found something more interesting. I look at the dream catcher again. Instead of a hole in the middle, it has 6 identical recesses. Interesting. Around the grooves were ornate runes, almost like those of the islanders, but not quite the same. What's written on here? To be honest, I don't really know myself. I bought this amulet in some antique shop, then found out it travels into dreams with me. So you're telling me this amulet actually exists in the real world? Yeah, amazing, right? Very amazing and very unbelievable. If you don't believe me, I can lend it to you. See for yourself. Really? But that means you won't have it anymore. It's fine. I might find another one someday. Maybe that shop still has a similar one. At least you'll have a memory of this interesting dream. I look at the dream catcher again. There's nothing to lose if I keep it, yet Lucas is far too mysterious, clearly hiding a lot. What should I do? Anyway, I'm in my own dream. Even if this guy is deceiving me, he'll vanish as soon as my alarm rings. Fine, I'll test your theory. If we ever meet again, you'll owe me one wish. Apparently something about my expression amused him, because Lucas began to laugh. Kidding. What is that? Lucas seems to lose interest in me and walks towards a stone pyramid standing nearby. I followed without thinking. Do you know why they make these? I have no idea. Usually tourists put them up to mark that they've been here. These, though, they were built so someone could make a wish. See the little stones around them? Lucas points to the base of the pyramid. I look closer and notice only then that both structures were surrounded by a circle of tiny stones. Whoa. The tighter the circle, the higher chance the wish will come true. It's your dream, so you ought to know this ritual. How come you don't? Perhaps I knew before, but now I've completely forgotten. It's a pity. The silence that follows was so uncomfortable I couldn't help but laugh. Also, hi, baby. What a weird dream I'm having today. If you could show me a person whose dream makes sense, I'd grant you 1,000,000 wishes. I'll tell you, I had a dream that I went to the grocery store and I went to the produce aisle and I looked through carefully and I found the perfect container of mushrooms and I went to the register and I paid for them. That was my dream. And so I was so convinced that I had mushrooms in the fridge whenever I went to go cook pasta, like later that week. I was so convinced that I had mushrooms. And whenever I went, I accused my roommate of eating my mushrooms and he was very confused. I've had some normal ass dreams. I've had some almost like insanely normal ass dreams. It's crazy. They were so realistic. I was so mad my mushrooms weren't real. I really wanted mushrooms in my pasta. You're right. But even so, I rarely realize I'm dreaming, and now I can see everything so clearly. There were pyramids, fields, and people. People? Didn't you notice them? Over there, the couple. I turned towards the boy and girl who were now climbing the field in our direction. I didn't notice. Fairies! Fairies over there! Her sudden booming voice struck my ears like thunder. Don't look that way. Lucas grabbed me by the shoulder, but I didn't even have time to turn to him. The girl's gaze froze me in place. My vision went black. In just a split second, my head ached as if it were clamped in a steel vise. It was so tight I thought my head would burst. Damn, that was quick. Dream feels so real, you pee the bed moment. Oh my god, yeah, those too. I haven't had one of those since I was a kid, dude. I feel a pair of warm arms wrap around me. Despite the pain piercing every cell of my body, I managed to face Lucas. Blah, blah. Will we meet again? I don't know. Lucas clearly wanted to say something, but the pain grew unbearable and the darkness surrounded me. Damn, that's where it ends? That's where the demo ends? Yeah, I haven't had one of those the going to the toilet dreams in a long time. I remember having one as a kid though, but luckily I didn't pee the bed. But I dreamed I went to the toilet and I peed. And I woke up and I was like, oh, thank God. And I actually went to the toilet and peed. That was crazy though. But I haven't had a dream like that since I was like 5. I definitely haven't had a dream like that in a while. I remember having a nightmare about being in a zombie apocalypse. Was on the roof of a building surrounded from the bottom. My ally, whose face I don't remember, pushed me off the building and I woke up falling onto the floor. Oh my gosh. I've definitely had some similar-ish dreams. I've had quite a few nightmares before. Like some crazy nightmares. That's the end of the demo. I know! It got me on the edge of my seat. I gotta know more about him. We didn't even meet this guy. We didn't even meet this guy, whoever this guy is. I'm assuming that's Lucas? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know who that is. He kind of looks like Lucas. But he's got gold eyes, which maybe his real version of himself is the one that he has to keep sustained through magic. And his ability to appear in other people's dreams is the only way he can normally be. Who invited bro? Who the fuck is this guy? He was not in the demo. Because yeah, there's Zoya, there's Raj, there's Noble. There's Sensei. There's us. I'm assuming this is probably Lucas. He's the only one that mildly fits the description. And then who the fuck is that? The guy on the right looks like Bruno Mars? Hold on, let me get a picture comparison of him. You know? Low-key? No, not Bruno Mars, but Bruno, like, you can't say his name from the Disney movie. Oh, from Encanto? Kind of, but he does also kind of look like if Bruno Mars was blonde. I don't know why. He does kind of look like if Bruno Mars was blonde. Something about, like, his eyebrows, I think. I think it's his eyebrows. We don't talk about Bruno, yeah. That was a fun demo. I definitely love, I love the idea of like playing around with the concept of dreams and stuff like that. So it is very interesting. I do think Sensei has some sort of weird hypnosis ability though. Girl was writing fan fiction about him at every possible opportunity. I feel like he's got to have some sort of crazy mind control thing going on there. I don't know. But this was a fun demo. I really liked it. I liked it a lot. I'm definitely invested. I want to know more about Lucas. And I think Zoya is really cute too. Lucas and Zoya for sure. Raj is pretty cute as well. Personally, not crazy about Noble, but I think he's the type that grows on you. Isn't Sensei an adult and G a teen? Hello? Yeah. But like, I mean, he's not showing any interest in her. I'm pretty sure it's like a one-sided crush, but well, even so, even if it is student-teacher, I don't know. It's not real. It's not real, so I don't really care that much. But yeah, no, I think it's interesting. I think definitely the characters I like the most are Lucas, Raj, and Zoya. I think those are the three that drew my attention the most. I just can't take Sensei seriously because girls like writing fanfiction about him every chance she gets. She describes him in the whole paragraphs every time he's on screen. I can't take it seriously. I can't. He is very pretty. He's a very beautiful man, but I cannot take it seriously. Oh, so ridiculous. But yeah, this was definitely a fun demo. I really liked it a lot. Return to title. There we go. We got the chrysanthemums. I dream something sometimes sleeping with a werewolf about to kiss them, and then I woke up to kiss my Cerberus, my dog, and then I gave him more kisses. Oh my god, you gave the doggy kisses. The way I see it, the more perfect someone is, the darker, the bigger secret they have, regardless of being a woman or a man. Yeah, I mean, if somebody's too perfect, it's a little scary, you know? Like I said, they're either too good for you or they're a serial killer. You can't trust somebody that's too perfect. They need to have some sort of flaws to ground them as a human being. Otherwise, it just sets you, like, on edge, you know? So who knows? Maybe he's a serial killer and he lures his victims. Who's to say? Who's to say? But yeah, let me grab the link. It is in the description of the YouTube video. If you guys also want to wishlist this game on Steam to help support the devs whenever the full version releases, here is the link to the Steam page. There you go. So feel free to wishlist. Like I say all the time, wishlisting is a free way to support games on Steam. It tells Steam that, hey, there are people interested in this game. And then Steam goes, oh, okay, well, I guess I can show it to more people then. Clearly there's an interest. The full game isn't out yet? No, the full game is not yet out. Let me see. Planned release date 2026, it just says. So, sometime this year, it seems. Yeah, there's Olin. Okay, so Olin and Shh, the Master of Deception. That's his name. His name is Shh. Why the fuck is his name Shh? His name, Bruno over here, his name is Shh. You think I'm joking? The girls often fall in love with him at first sight. A mysterious islander with a unique name, fluent in many languages, a master of many crafts. He doesn't mind spending some time with you, but it comes with a great price. Oh my god. His name is Shh. That's so fucking... I didn't know his name was that. That's crazy. And then there's Olan, which is the other guy. So that wasn't Lucas. The withdrawn dreamer. Where is Lucas? Isn't here. Huh. Interesting. I must help cool creators. Yeah. But yeah, I did really enjoy this demo a lot. I thought it was really cute. The origin of his name is very hush hush. Yeah. That's such a funny name to give him, dude. Just, oh, hey, shh. Can you come over here for a second? I need a helping hand, you know? Oh, shh, I love you. Say no more. I need to confess my feelings to you. Shh. So silly. Alrighty. Well, that officially concludes the Otome Game Celebration. We've done it. We played through 6 different games and demos for the Otome Game Celebration. So we got a whole lot of that whacked out of there. I got a huge fix for all my lovey-dovey needs. I'm a big romance fan. I'm sure y'all are all very much aware of that. So let's see. No more bedtime stories from Indy. There will be. We'll be resuming we'll be resuming Virtue's Last Reward on Friday. So we'll be picking up the psychological horror visual novel again. Well, let's see. Who is on? Yeah, so we're switching from romance back to psychological horror now. You know how it is. And then, let's see. Ooh, Maisie's playing Enfield? We might raid Maisie. Let's raid Maisie. Currently playing Arknights Enfield, which is a game I actually play a lot in my downtime. So, we're gonna raid Maisie. Let's heal your heart real quick before casually traumatizing it. True. Tomorrow is gonna be an art stream. If you guys want to come in, hang out and chill while I work on some art commissions and all that good stuff. It'll be nice and comfy, cozy, lots of drawing noises, some lo-fi music. It'll be very chill. No tarot stream this week because I'm actually doing another collab with Harper and Maisie and somebody else. We're playing more Super Battle Golf. So Thursday will actually be an off-stream collab for more Super Battle Golf ridiculousness. And then Friday we'll be playing Virtue's Last Reward, the psychological horror game. So hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow for a cozy art stream. But if not, no worries. I'll see you when I see you. Hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful night. And good night.